Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. And you're like, what do you mean? You were here last time.
Well, you're back in a different way, I can tell. Because Twitter was quiet for like 3 or 4 days.
A little louder now.
What are you? You're talking about that, right? You're back. Yeah.
In the New York mood, he's back.
That's a great song.
What?
Well, that's an Ace Frehley song, but it's a cover. I forget who did the original, but Ace Frehley covered that for his solo album.
Oh, wait, is it like is it the weird? Remember there was like 4 Kiss solo albums?
Yeah,
each member got their own.
New York Groove was on his.
So like when they put out their own album with the Catman and like the rest of the band help, they're like, nah, you're on your own.
I think a lot of it was studio musicians, if I remember right.
Bizarre.
I'll tell you, I love
bizarre project.
Yeah, I love old Kiss, but if you listen to like Hard Luck Woman and Beth and some of their kind of like power ballad stuff, it was pretty schmaltzy. I mean, you could tell that they brought in like studio musicians for a lot of shit. So I think, I mean, maybe I'm not a huge Kiss fan, but I like some.
I just remember as a kid seeing Kiss and they all dressed up like demons and monsters, whatever. Yeah. And then you hear their music, and it's just kind of like
it's rock and roll,
generic hard rock. Like it's not even like, I mean, they have some songs that are really good, but overall, it's like not heavy.
Well, I'll tell you, I made the mistake of listening to Kiss Alive first. And Kiss Alive, their first live album, was really good, and it was hard. Like a lot of their songs sounded real hard and heavy, and it was like good rock. And then
Love Gun's a great song. It's a great song to listen to with my son.
Yeah,
my son says, "What's Love Gun about?" And I tell him,
"Gun control." Gun control. Well, Cold Gin was on that, and there's a bunch of great songs. Detroit Rock City, and then you go back and listen to the studio album versions, and they're really underwhelming. I thought the live stuff is great.
It's more aggressive.
Yeah. There's like,
well, we're not here to talk about Kiss.
No.
That's it. That's for Joseph's other podcast called The Demon Hour with Joseph
K. Right.
The Demon's Pit.
Yeah. I don't use my real name on that.
Peter Crypt, the Catman's Corner. Let's see what other Star Child's.
Well, I do the entire show in my Ace Frehley voice from Phantom of the Park, which is like.
I thought it was the Catman who got like Shaggy's voice. One of them had Shaggy's voice.
No, it was Ace Frehley. And yes, and I don't go by my real name. I go by Cock Commander. That's just a person.
Cock Commander. Hey everyone, it's me, Cock Commander, back in action. Well, yeah. So I'm back on Twitter. I had to go back and respond to some of the tweets that I saw that I could not.
You were like dragging tweets out from like 3-4 days earlier.
Yeah, a week ago. And they're just too funny. It's like. The Crowder one was just hysterical. I think we talked about that last week. It's like, it's a fucking, come on. It's
right.
Like,
yeah.
The Borbert one we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Funny. All right. So what do we got to talk about?
We got a lot. We're going to talk some pop culture stuff first. We're going to talk She-Hulk. I finally saw Thor: Love and Thunder. We're going to talk the Game of Thrones prequel, which is called House of the Dragon. We're going to talk about some big dark Brandon victories. Student loan debt relief came out today. He slipped some greenhouse laws into his big legislation for that came out a week or two ago that people are starting to notice.
Well, it was basically written into the thing that was voted in that will counteract against what the Supreme Court did with the EPA.
Yeah. It's really very funny. We're talking about the primaries, and some other things associated with the primaries, Trump related. We're going to talk about the Mueller memo getting released a day or so ago. We're going to talk about Trump's affidavits getting released tomorrow. We're going to talk about the fact that no Texas politicians are talking about abortion, even though
the law went into effect today in Texas, right? The anti-abortion law is now in full effect in Texas today.
Yep. Yeah.
None of them are praising it. None of them are going on there proud of it.
I'll tell you, quiet. We'll talk more about it later, but I looked all day at like Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton.
Ted Cruz anything? Like, we celebrate life and
I don't think so, but that wouldn't have surprised me because he's like a federal official.
Let's see. I'm going to look up Ted Shitbag Cruz.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't come up. Oh, no, let's see. Ted Cruz. I like how they have two accounts, and there's the casual Ted Cruz where he's in the chair and he's just like doing his podcast because he's a fucking dork. To say that partial birth abortion is the most constitutional American and Texas thing to do is simply bizarre. Beto previously said there is nothing more American than kneeling during a national anthem. This is truly radical definition of what's meant to be an American. Shut the fuck up.
Well, we're going to talk about Trump versus DeSantis, kind of a preview of that. And then we're going to finish up with a kind of an interesting group of stories. Marjorie Taylor Greene has said she's been swatted twice.
Yeah, that seems sus.
It does. Lauren Boebert is sad that Democrats don't want MAGA chuds as roommates when they go off to college.
Yeah, no. Well, we'll talk about that.
And then we're going to talk about a weird story. I understand the basics of it. There's some kind of like weirdness to it that's a little unclear, but it's basically the story of a scandal that's been kind of unraveling. It was a fire chief took a firefighter to a party on Juneteenth that happened to be a racist party.
The chief took the fireman to the party. The fireman happens to be a black man.
Yes. And then
he was at a incredibly stereotypically racist party that happened to be on Juneteenth.
Yeah.
That's been getting around. There's just some really ridiculous things that have come out from it. Like, they're funny, but not funny like it's more like these people are idiots. And
it's a funny story, like
not for the man, and not for
we'll not funny, haha. It's anyway, okay.
Let's wait till later so we have the actual context. Then or not.
There we go. All right, so
you don't want Joseph to get like somebody come in, clip him, and him saying that's your teeth thing.
Right.
Hilarious. Good satire.
So the first thing up, I guess, I just watched She-Hulk not that long ago.
The second episode?
Yes. Yeah.
Starring Cousin Larry.
That's who that was.
Jen Walters went to Cousin Larry and they did the Dance of Joy.
Yeah.
But she jumped in his arms, to catch, and broke his spine.
Well, this episode went by quickly.
So it's 9 episodes. So this is a truly more of a 22 to 30 minute show. It went by pretty quick. Not a lot of action, really. More of just like, so the way the last episode ended was Titania, who has broken, caused some shit. She-Hulk punched her, saved the day. But because it's a lawyer show too, and she's a lawyer, she's like a celebrity now.
Yeah,
it's like holy shit. But it's funny because it's a world where like Thanos took half the planet away, so people aren't like 100% shocked. You know what I mean? They're not like, this isn't like a show where She-Hulk exists in a vacuum with no other characters. So you've already had like aliens invade New York and like a robot try to drop the city in Europe. Wakanda came out as like an actual existing city from the future,
and they talk about what is the woman's name? Tatiana. They talk about her being like a celebrity, like a superhero influencer and stuff. I mean, so they also talk
Oh
about like
yeah, they totally. I'm curious how they're gonna change her character because her character in the comics, I don't really know too much about her backstory, but her origin is in the Secret Wars miniseries,
Mhm.
Which they are gonna do. They did announce a Avengers Secret
Yeah,
Wars, so they're gonna have to change her origin a bit because she's not appearing in the Secret Wars movie that's gonna come out in a couple of
yeah,
years. She's in exists now. They didn't really have her again. They only mentioned her and said that she's like an internet influencer,
yeah.
which means she's probably a piece of shit, like most of those influencers usually are.
But
Usually they're always
there's like
like
some
terrible.
street. We know that they're doing like some street level characters. So you're right.
Did you see the marketing they're doing though with the
Hmm.
movie? But with the show? This is like weird, like real like they had the actress go and people were like filming it of her defacing the She-Hulk studio. The studio made like like a wall art or something,
Yeah,
or like a not the signs, the highway traffic sign, not the signs you see on the highway,
right.
but like one on the wall, and she defaces it and puts Titania across
Oh,
it. So it's like some cool like
that's
marketing, like
cool. Yeah, yeah.
weird like, well, this is a fake. And they
Right.
had her dressed. I don't know if it was the actual actress, but they had somebody dressed up as
That's
Titania,
cool.
like the outfit she was wearing and everything. Yeah, it's kind of cool. They didn't really, you don't really, you probably won't know until like the next episode what the fallout that is or what the deal with her
Yeah,
is. Obviously she'll be back. They casted her and made a big deal about the actress from
yeah,
The Good Place, so she'll be in a couple episodes, I would imagine. Now this one involves her. So basically, like the lawyer's like, her boss fires her, tells her,
yeah.
you
We can't
saved the
have you in front of a
people,
jury. Yeah,
but you also influenced the jury. We can't, it's unethical. And also, there was like a bunch of lawyer words he
yeah,
used.
yeah.
So she was fired and no one would hire her
Right.
because that same reason. Um, but then this is straight out of the comics. This was from like She-Hulk volume 3 or whatever. I bought this series back in like 2007 or whatever. It was really good actually. She gets hired by this superhero law firm and she does all these like crazy cases, and they basically tell her like, no, we're hiring you specifically to
Yeah.
like,
Be
you're
She-Hulk.
in charge of our superhero division. Well, that was the thing. I think the twist was they wanted her to be Jen, because
Oh, okay.
in the comics she was always She-Hulk, and for years she was like stuck as She-Hulk, and then
Right, right.
eventually she was able to turn back into her former, like her normal self. And I don't know, I gotta like go back and read it, but I think they like switched it in the show.
Yeah,
The new boss basically says, you're running the superhero division and we want you as She-Hulk. You have to be She-Hulk when
the
you're
whole
doing the
time.
cases,
Yeah,
like when you're here, when you're doing the cases. It's interesting because like, okay, so, and I wonder how they're going to do this, because in the Hulk, he wrestles with he loses control and he becomes this rage monster, or the original
yeah,
version of the
yeah.
Hulk. He becomes a out of control rage monster and he says like he's not really driving the wheel. There's another personality.
Right, right.
There's another. There's a whole like, I don't know. They definitely setting up a Hulk movie here, because the end of this episode, spoilers are spoiling
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Hulk says. She's on the phone with her cousin, and he has one appearance, and I guess that's it. I have a feeling he's not going to be back
I
on.
agree. They
He
made it.
basically says, she's like, well, you gotta. He says like her that because he said you're going to get a name, like the fact that he's Smart
Right.
Hulk or whatever. It's like, I didn't make that name up.
Yeah.
Someone gave it, but she said like you use it, so it was like a lawyer talk.
Right,
It was kind
right.
of funny in the first
She
episode.
called him Smug Hulk. Smug
Yeah,
Hulk.
Smug Hulk. Yeah. She said that he's like, what do they call you? He's like, She-Hulk. He's like, actually, that's a really great name. And but then she's like, you coming out to LA? And he's like, no, I actually gotta take care of some business. And you see him in that ship that showed up that caused the car
Right.
accident.
In the first episode, yeah.
So he's heading to the car, which means I guess they're probably gonna announce it. They do D23, Disney does
Yeah.
D23, which is their big, they're going to announce like everything. They announced a little bit of Whole H in Comic Con, and they're going to announce. So they're probably going to announce World War Hulk. which basically this spins right out of. And he's probably gonna have a son, and he says he was there for 2 years, but the reality is that because time is weird there, because the game master or something, whatever the Jeff Goldblum character, was like 1,000,000 years old. He wouldn't be that old on another planet because time moves so weird in there. So he's probably gonna come back, and he's gonna have a grown ass son. And you're gonna find out the Hulk had a relationship. It's a woman, which is straight out of the comic Planet Hulk. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Finally, maybe we'll get an actual Hulk movie. We'll probably maybe learn more about it because time could be dedicated to him. That this is gonna be one of those things where, like, it was in the comics, it was revealed that he was abused by his father was abusive. They kind of touched on it in the 2003 movie. Nick Nolte played his dad.
Yeah, I remember that.
Piece of shit. Yeah, he was very abusive to him. So they'll probably touch on that and probably why he has more of a what's it called? The
dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, and he has all those different personalities brewing him. But the She-Hulk thing is different because it's like she's the same, unlike Bruce, who didn't really get the benefit when when he turns into Hulk, it's tragic because it's like he can't control himself. And he'll wake up and like see a city destroyed, and he probably killed like 100 people because it's like there's no control over this thing. But her, it's her all the time, but she still has this weird dual identity where it's kind of like Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
When Marty McFly, right? That's his name, right?
No, I forget his name in Teen
Michael
Wolf.
J. Fox.
Yeah,
I don't remember what his name was in Teen Wolf. I think his name was
when he's a human, they call him Teen. I think that was his name.
Teen Boy.
Right,
Teen Boy.
Yeah.
Teen Boy.
And then he becomes Teen Wolf.
Right. And we're like, we don't want Teen Boy, we want Teen Wolf. But like, it is the plot of the movie, the classic cinematic masterpiece, Teen Wolf. And but she's like, I think she's gonna go through something different where it's like, even though she is She-Hulk, it's like it's not her. Like, you know what I mean?
I can see that. Yeah.
It's like, when she goes to, there's a great scene in the episode when she goes home. That's when you see her dad played by, that guy's awesome.
I knew. I'm like, I know this guy, but I didn't spend a lot of time trying to figure it out.
He was great in The Leftovers.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember how like did you see all 3 seasons?
Yeah, I was a little underwhelmed by it, but it was good. I mean, it was well,
the first season they only showed like his face in something in the background because there was like a sighting. Supposedly every member of like 3% of the population dies, and everyone on Perfect Strangers, a random show that like I remember because I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and Mark Lynn Baker, that's the actor. They're spotted, and he was supposed to be dead. And then you find out he was in hiding because he was like, "Why am I the only one alive?" And like, and he's the one that like teaches the main character about like how you can go to that other universe where everyone went, basically. So he was a big part of that. He's just like an actor. I think that like, I'm glad he's in this. He's great in this as her dad.
Yeah.
But there's a great dinner scene, and it's just like
really funny.
And like
that guy keeps talking about Hawkeye.
What?
The guy keeps talking about Hawkeye and his arrows.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where does he get that? Does he go back and take them? Like,
what did he do with the arrows? Does he go get them? Does he pick them up?
There were some really funny parts, but the best is the mom makes like a snide comment about her hair and saying like her hair should be like She-Hulk's because like her hair is different when she's She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And I always say like some person like on Twitter was like some person like hating on it or whatever. It was like, why is her hair different? I'm like, why is she 7 feet tall?
Right.
That's the thing.
Why is she green?
Why is she green and 7? She's literally grows 3 feet. Has a totally different body and has like. That's the thing you focus on. Her hair. But I thought that was really funny. Actually, I was like, that episode. It's great because it was like she gets hired by the law firm. I love she gets the big case is Emil Blonsky.
Yeah.
Abomination. And that shit is fucking funny. The haikus. And then she's talking to Bruce Banner on the phone. He sent me, we're actually kind of cool. It was like, because more MCU, they are following the timeline.
Yeah.
And we are now caught up with like Endgame almost. Next year will
Right.
be like, where everything's caught up with the Endgame timeline, which was 2023. And so he's like, yeah, it was like fucking 15 years ago that we fought, you
Right.
know, like, and, you know, I love the whole Emil Blonsky saying like, you know, I was like, the game pumped me with like,
Yeah, makes
steroids.
sense.
They basically told me I was going to be like the next Captain America. I
Yeah.
like how he's like, his past is so convoluted. He was like Russian, then he worked in the military. He's on loan to, and they changed it because in the comics, he's just a Russian guy.
Yeah, okay.
Like he's just straight up from Russia. Like the whole like, so you know, Cold War
Sure.
era. The character was introduced in the late 60s in Abomination. So you're talking like, so it's like Cold War villain. He's the evil, smarter. He was basically like an evil, smarter Hulk when he was introduced. I always liked that character. It was like a cool, like he was more in control. He was more cunning. You know, pretty much as powerful. So yeah, I thought that was great. The haiku thing, and then Bruce is like, she's telling him like, don't do that. Like,
right. Yeah, like just
coming for you. But then Bruce is like, yeah, he said me. It was really good. I liked it. They're like buddies. I thought that was great. But the best is the ending. They show you the clip from Shang-Chi.
Right. Yeah. He escaped and was doing this fight.
Which means next week, what's his face is going to show up because he's in the trailer. Wong shows up because Wong was doing some fucking shyster shit at where he would they were doing like
he would break out Abomination in the middle of the night, have him go to his fight club, and then put him back in jail the next morning. You know, and it was
like immediately he opened up a portal like like he was probably gone like 20 minutes.
And then but it's funny because even in Shang-Chi, I remember we talked about it, and I was kind of confused at the time because I was like, Abomination seemed like a good dude in this. You know, he seemed like kind of
he seemed like he has his shit more together, and I wouldn't say he was good,
but he wasn't
probably
bad.
Still in prison but clearly him and Wong were running a scheme.
Yeah.
Because they were like, you know, you really punched me there.
Right.
You weren't supposed to, you weren't supposed to actually hit me, you know, like.
Yeah.
And clearly, you know, they're making money. Wong probably say like, he's got bills to pay.
Right. He wasn't a surgeon.
What?
He wasn't a surgeon.
He's not a fancy surgeon like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You know. Just a scheming little shit. they implied that. So I thought that was great. I love the whole like, isn't a conflict of interest to like because he attacked my cousin, and they're like, no, we don't give a shit.
Yeah, we signed a waiver. We signed a waiver.
Yeah. Oh, then this is great too. He's talking about his cellmates, his 7 cellmates. Yeah. That's gonna be funny because I saw the clips and they show all the wacky villains like Porcupine Man and like some of these. Like I said, these are all real Marvel characters from like the 60s, 70s. So, like they're gonna pull out all kinds of weird shit, and people are gonna make like Tick comparisons. But it's like, what do you think that Tick was inspired by? Like the guy Bill Eglin, I think that's his name, who did the Tick, probably grew up reading 70s era Marvel, where because 70s era Marvel books are interesting. That's when She-Hulk comes in more in the late 70s, but like that's when you get Ghost Rider, Punisher, like there was like Blade the Vampire Hunter, all the even crazier shit, weirder shit, horror characters, Werewolf by Night, all come in the 70s.
Yeah, I remember reading a lot. I was a big Marvel fan in the 70s.
Knights from the 70s.
Well, I just remember like Marvel stuff in the 70s when I was watching, when I was reading them, like Thor and Silver Surfer was a big one. It was just like super trippy shit. I mean, it was like real kind of out there.
Thanos comes in during the 70s. Just Warlock, Guardians of the Galaxy characters. It's all from the 70s era. So you're going to see all these crazy characters. And I think like, so I don't know. I love this show. I don't care what people say. There's a lot of chuds out there. They're what did I say? Well, one, I think these people they don't know the character. They're lying. this character is acting exactly the way she is in the comics.
Yeah. It's pretty comic faithful, yeah.
It's like, what did I say? I wrote something basically like, these people just hate. This is like how they make money, though. Like I said, where is it? I said She-Hulk is a great series. It's also a great series for right-wing MAGA chud culture warrior YouTube grifters. MCU should get a licensing fee for how much these grifters make from constantly lambasting their content.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and then someone wrote like, what's the problem with She-Hulk? I mean, she's a lawyer in the comic too. And then one person wrote, she's a woman, that's all. They said half their revenue be wiped out if Marvel Extended Universe didn't exist. I said they always have Star Wars. And if they needed any new Star Trek series, basically whatever generates the most money in fandom. I mean, they just react to like, if like in Care Bears was the biggest thing they would be going on about it,
Yeah, there's always something with them.
But
it's
I
a
like
great
the
show.
I don't know I don't know where it's gonna go. I do like that, it's kind of cool too. Like, Hulk is kind of like on his own thing now. So that means she's forced to kind of like have to train now or really learn what she's doing. I do like I think it's kind of funny when she turns into She-Hulk. She takes her shoes off because she doesn't want to ruin them.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got to get some new shoes. And she's like, I have to get a whole new wardrobe. Like, a 7 foot tall woman.
I think it's a lot of the little details, right? It reminds me a little bit, I don't know why, but like of when Angel went to work for Wolfram and Hart.
That's what I said last week. I said it like,
yeah,
you're gonna get a lot of that. You're gonna see like, because that was what it was great. And that Bill Englund from the Tick, I think I'm not saying his name right. He worked on that season.
Oh, okay.
A lot of these like crazy, like weird demons and shit that they dealt with the Wolfram Hart. That people like, this is like shit out of the Tick cartoon.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
So like, there's like a humorous edge to the whole thing. What I was gonna say, I don't know. I like the show. I think I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I like the what do you call it? The courtroom renderings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. I do like they have like a little cut scene in the end. In the second episode had a cut scene too, where the joke is now her dad's using her to like
just like
lift shit. Yeah. She's like bringing like 8 gallons of whatever
those big 5-gallon jugs.
Yeah, dude. She's holding the carb. I like her cousin, or brother or whatever he is. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I love that the parents are like his parents or whatever. Like, he is a manager and has a job. She was fired. She didn't have a job. Like all this like underhanded like people are so shitty to each other.
It's really funny.
Good.
Well, I was gonna say, it's just it's good. I mean, we're 2 episodes in. We're gonna see where it goes. It did. I mean, this is obviously the next thing we're gonna talk about. I thought there was some overlap between this, not like narrative wise or plot wise, but this and that Thor: Love and Thunder, which I finally saw.
Real quick. Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm glad that they got what's his face to come back as Abomination.
Oh yeah.
Roth.
Philip. Is it Philip Roth? Is that his name?
No, Tim Roth.
Tim Roth. Yeah. Yeah.
Famous for being Reservoir Dogs and tons of other great stuff. I'm glad that he's back playing him. That's good. You know. So I feel like that movie's like, it's like the weird bastard movie, Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
It's like, it's considered an MC movie, but like Edward Norton's playing him, and like it was really more of a Universal film.
It doesn't have that Marvel vibe to it.
But there is some cool shit in that movie. Like the scene when he's at the college and the army shows up with those awesome weapons that like create that like sonic shit. It was like,
oh yeah.
There was some really good stuff in that. They were setting up something in there too. Like, I hope the leader shows up, that guy who played him. They were setting that up.
Yeah.
They were
Oh
setting up
yeah.
Doc. They were setting up Doc Samson. They were setting up all that stuff. So maybe these characters will start showing up in She-Hulk or maybe in the new Hulk movie.
Mm,
So I
yeah.
enjoy it. Let's go. Okay, so you saw Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah. I
We
finally
talked
got.
about it a little bit. I saw it like a month ago. It
Yep.
is going to be on in like a week or two on Disney Plus.
Yes. Yeah. We went to go see it at one of those movie theaters that has like food and drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The whole family went. It was a real good time. I loved the movie. I can see most of the time I'm like,
Ragnarok is better.
oh yeah, that's a better put together movie. But I thought
also
this
the
was
Hulk being in it kind of helped.
yeah. I thought this was really great. I liked the vibe to it. I get how this is one of the rare Marvel movies where even though I loved it, I can kind of see where people would have some complaints about it. Like it was a little disjointed narratively. The Guardians of the Galaxy stuff felt a little tacked on.
I feel like Endgame was like setting up that like there'd be some cool like kind of Thor Guardians of the Galaxy thing. Now I get it, you want to be like a more of a Thor movie, but I felt like it was just way too rushed. I feel like they could have done something that would have set up them being separated instead of just the whole like we got to ditch this guy, which is what which maybe that is really what they wanted to do is ditch this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was. I mean, I guess I liked it a whole bunch because one, I liked that it felt like a comic book movie to me. It really felt comic bookish. It did have that 70s Marvel vibe to me from at least what I remember. I mean, I could see panels of comics where like
it's really good. Spoilers, Eternity in the end, that was amazing.
Yep. That was
I
great.
liked how like he didn't talk. He was just like this weird like
statue,
kind of like Buddha.
Yeah,
like the Buddha at the end of the what do they call that Siddhartha thing?
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like just kind of like all the way in the end, like silent. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
I like Gore. I mean, I didn't read. There's a comic called God of Thunder series, and that's with Gore. And I didn't read that series. People love it. They changed it a bit. Like he's more alien looking, way more alien looking in the comic Gore.
Okay.
He just went with like bald Christian Bale. I thought he was fine, but do you feel like because the movie was like a little too silly in some spots, and then him being such a like kind of like a I don't know what the word is, sullen or like just serious stoic villain. Like
but he got goofy. He almost got like jokerish when he was
like when he had the kids. But I almost felt like there was so he's a dad, right? So the beginning of the movie they show that like his whole species or whatever the planet's like dying, right. His god has failed him, and the daughter dies basically, and he's dying, and he ends up in the garden or whatever with his god, and the god doesn't fuck about him. I thought that scene was amazing.
That was great.
Like all the crazy like the flower things, those weird like weird shit. The god and everything was crazy. And I forgot who played him. It was actually like an actor who's been in lots of stuff who played the god he kills in the beginning. But and then he sees the sword. That sword's a big deal because they might be setting up that sword's like the Necro sword or something, which has to do with his character Null, which is from I don't know how they're gonna do it because Null is technically like a Venom villain. I don't know, the whole thing's a mess. So like I don't know how they're going to touch on that, but basically that sword is made up of the same material that Venom's made up of.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't touch on it too much, but I remember in the end of the Spider-Man movie, remember Venom's in it for a minute, for like a second, and then he leaves a little piece. So that Marvel's like, you don't have to use this shitty Venom movie. We can do our own Venom movie. Thanks, Sony. Thanks for leaving a little piece of Venom for us.
Right.
Maybe we'll actually make him cool.
Well, my big complaint.
He's a good villain, but I did not. Okay, the God scene is cool.
That's great. Yeah,
there's some really good stuff in that. I did not care for what's his face.
Russell Crowe.
I don't even think it's his fault. I don't think it's his fault. I think it was like way too silly. Like
it was silly.
Zeus is supposed to be like when he like comes down and he just has that like frilly skirt. I was like, oh, this is so like it's funny, but it's so dumb at the same
It
time.
worked,
Like,
but yeah, it was kind of ridiculous.
it's also so you did you stick around and watch all the cutscenes?
Yeah.
Okay, you made sure that your wife and kid understand that there's these important cutscenes in Marvel movies.
Yeah, well, it's funny because my wife went out to go to pay the bill because we ordered food and drink there, and she texted me and she's like, "I'm out. Come on out. I'm ready." And I was like, "There's still like there's still a scene." So
There's
yeah.
this
Anyway,
thing called setup. Not happening.
yeah.
So there's two. There's the one with Hercules.
Yeah.
What was the other one? I forgot the other one was.
Where you find out that Jane goes to Valhalla.
Oh yeah. That was kind of funny.
I thought that was a great ending.
They could bring her back. She could come back. She does come back in the comics as a Valkyrie.
Well, I hope they fix the one. This is the big flaw in the movie, and the thing that really kind of wrecked it for me is that I don't know if you noticed, but when she is Jane Foster, her hair is real mousy, and when she becomes Thor, her hair is beautiful. And as we've seen in She-Hulk, having characters, especially female ones,
I just can't accept that.
Yeah,
I just can't accept that. You know, you can.
Why can't they give her the Thor hair all the time? That's what I want to.
You know, you turn somebody into a 7-foot tall person or 6-foot tall person, change their whole physique. They have powers now, but man, once you mess with the hair.
Well, I'm of course kidding, but but yeah, you saw the Jane Foster getting into Valhalla, which I thought was real cool. It was a nice little ending. Good ending to Natalie Portman's run.
Somebody made an edit of where Sif, no, what's her name?
Sif. Yeah.
Her arm is waving high. Remember, he says that your arm went to Valhalla. Like, okay, here's the other thing too. Like, they introduced Hercules for 2 seconds, and he's played by that guy from Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah,
interesting casting. The guy's not that big. Hercules is supposed to be a big dude. They look like they kind of did some CGI on him. Didn't it look like they made him bigger?
Yep. I thought that was
curious how they're going to approach that. The problem with him is that in the comics, Hercules is more like the way post Thor Ragnarok Thor is in the comics, where Hercules is more the goofball, likes to just kind of fuck around, have some fun, and like, you know.
Well, I thought that was I didn't know that, but I thought that was like, look, I get Zeus being the way they had Zeus. That was kind of fun. But then Hercules is all like serious and dramatic, and I was like,
well, that's the thing. Like,
are these, because like saying that the Greek gods are like kind of old fashioned and dorky. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. They're like gods from thousands of years ago, but to make Hercules seem real modern and keep a kind of a silent film era Zeus seems jarring to me. Seems out of alignment.
I mean, that did bother me. I mean, it's interesting too because Zeus was like, they made you think that Thor killed Zeus, but Zeus was still alive.
Yeah,
Zeus seemed way more serious at this point than he seemed more serious there than he did when he was with Thor. Maybe because he didn't take Thor seriously. It's possible. You know, they're arrogant. The gods are all arrogant. They're just there to fuck around. They don't actually care about anyone. But I like the dumpling god or whatever.
Yeah,
that was weird.
That was good.
I'm just curious how they'll depict Hercules in the movies, because like I said, Thor is more like, in the comics, Thor is really more like the way they depicted Thor in Thor 1 and Avengers 1 and Avengers 2. Like, there might be like a joke or two cracked. Now, I like the post Thor Ragnarok Thor because it's entertaining.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know. I mean, I like this movie. I think it got hate. I could see some people would be annoyed by Korg a bit. I think it was like too much Korg, maybe. He's like just a little too goofy. That joke in the end was so dumb. His mate is new. What was it? Dwayne The Rock Johnson or something. I was like, come on, that's so stupid because he's a rock.
Yeah, it was fun. I again kind of like, I think he went all out kind of funny, and I appreciated it. I mean, I liked that in this movie. I could see though how some people may not like that, and that's fine. I mean, this was a different kind of
I found it
movie.
enjoyable. It's amazing looking. I think it's like fun. It's a fun
Mhm,
movie. I'm
for
gonna
sure.
watch it again when it's on Disney Plus. I'll give it a watch again. But like I said, Thor Ragnarok is like just one of my favorite Marvel movies because it moves pretty quickly. As I mean, again, it doesn't hurt that you got Mark Ruffalo and the Hulk in it,
Yeah.
and you had Jeff Goldblum as the
Yep.
Master. I
He was real
mean,
good.
there's uh I guess the girl man, because he basically adopts her,
Yeah.
and she's kind of like, oh, the thing is she's like a living entity of eternity. She's like this
Oh,
cosmic being.
yeah,
Like
I could see that.
it's a little convoluted. I guess the girl is played by his daughter in real life. His
Oh
son wrote
shoot.
daughter.
Oh, that's funny.
Hollywood nepotism strikes again.
Yeah. Mm.
I do love the running. I'm kidding. I do love the running gag of the actors showing up again. The Thor Ragnarok, Matt Damon, and
Yeah.
the other guy who plays Thor in the theater. That's actually Chris Hemsworth's brother. It's a different
Okay.
brother.
That's
And
funny.
then Sam Neill as Odin. And then what's her face is fucking hell. It was so
Oh,
funny. What's her
yeah.
name? The one from that horrible Ghostbusters movie, but that was like so good.
Gosh, it wasn't Melissa McCarthy, but that's the
It
name of the.
was.
Was it? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy. That was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
The whole theater production, and I just love that that wasn't just like a one-off thing in the third movie, and that they're on there. I do like that Asgard is kind of like a tourist trap
That
place.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
What's her face was that fine as Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson. She was
Yeah, I thought
okay.
she's fine. I mean, I don't like or dislike the character, but I thought she was really good in this. I like the
My
character
whole
in
thing
this.
is I just don't know, like, so in the end of the movie, I don't want to go into it too much because we have so much other
Yeah,
things
yeah.
to talk about. Uh, it's him and that, and he's like a father now, and like where does it go?
Yeah,
Where
that
does you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I have like I mean the thing about Thor Ragnarok too was you knew where it was going because it was leading right into Infinity War.
Right.
Like we knew it was gonna end up. It was it was one of the last movies right before Infinity War. We knew it was a set. There was gonna be something in there, and it showed in the end that last clip in the end when Thanos' ship is like right in front of that
Yeah.
there, and I don't know where it goes. But what did you think of Natalie Portman as the Thor character?
I liked it. I thought it was great. I mean,
You know what? I had a real issue with it. Are we expected
really.
to believe that woman can hold a hammer?
I look, I thought she looked great. I thought I liked the kind of nod to the traditional character costume. Her hair
Well,
looked
that
amazing.
is in she's from the comics.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
did, and she looks exactly the helmet, everything
yeah.
is straight out of the comic.
I did
I
the
like
kind of
how. Go ahead.
I liked it how like she was still kind of trying to find her feet with it. Like she was trying to come up with a catchphrase, and she wasn't that good at it. And I don't know. I like Natalie Portman a lot. I like the character. I thought, look, if there was another movie coming up with Natalie Portman as Thor, I'd be down for watching that. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously we're not
I
getting
would
it,
be.
but
No, I liked it. I love the whole flashback of their
yeah,
relationship
yeah, that was
that
funny.
like that you didn't see in the movies. I thought that was great. I love
Yeah,
that they go to the party, like he's on Earth with her. I thought that was really good. I do like how the hammer is like held together, but
yeah,
she throws it, she can make all the pieces kind of turn into little hammers basically
yeah,
and form back together. And they do explain it. I forgot in the comics how she became Thor. I know that like at that point, I think Thor did something and he became unworthy, he lost the hammer.
right.
Um, it's in that. That's a good storyline. And she does have cancer
Yep.
in the comic too. So I'm glad that they didn't shy away from the cancer storyline. It's sad too because they show that clearly, like it runs in the family because her mom died of
Yeah,
cancer.
yeah,
It's like really, it's kind of depressing actually. That's why I said the movie's like disjointed because it's like it's so fucking goofy in some parts,
yep.
and then you have these like very serious moments
Oh
with a
yeah,
very serious villain with a serious cause, and you got
yeah,
a serious the what's her face who's Thor
Yep.
is in a serious situation. Every time she uses the hammer and turns it to Thor, she's basically killing herself
Right. Yeah.
because the body is like not fighting off.
The
Like,
cancer.
yeah, it's interesting that aspect. I do like the whole like, I guess they said like Thor basically told the hammer or whatever, like protect her, whatever, and she read, and I guess he left her books or whatever. She did the research. She did the research,
You're
man.
right.
She did her own research, man.
Yeah. I like that.
Your own research, brother.
I thought it all fit really well, and I thought she made a good Thor. And yeah, it was a good movie. I liked it. I'm really glad I saw it in the
I
theater.
don't know if she was better Thor than me.
Well, I liked it quite a bit, and like I said, I'm glad I saw it in the theater.
Great. You like the goats?
I love the goats. I was ready for them to be like real kind of annoying, but like they were only in a few scenes.
They're
I thought they were
in it
hilarious.
that much enough
No,
to be annoying.
no.
But I do love the joke is that I don't think Thor realized that they gave him those things as a punishment.
Yeah,
for
that was like
their temple.
right.
Then it really was as a gift. Yeah, I liked it. I'll watch it again. It does have some flaws. I'll say this, saying it is not good as Thor Ragnarok doesn't mean it's a bad movie. I'm just saying Thor Ragnarok is just a better like story. I mean,
it's a great movie.
The whole gladiator planet, it's just, and then like what's her face was great as hell. Hella, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'll say maybe like if he were to do another one, I maybe dial it back a drip, just a drop. Dial it back a drop. Like you can still be crazy, but maybe like I don't know.
Just have one goat. Just one.
One goat. Two's a little crazy. One goat.
Well, I guess to shift gears to something I wasn't super fond of is I watched as did you the new Game of Thrones prequel, House of Dragons, and I didn't love it. I didn't. It wasn't.
I mean, to get this out of the way, it's well done.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
It's not a bad production.
My issue with it is that, and maybe I need to rewatch it again. I don't know. I just did not find any of the characters. Like the main girl is like okay. But they just don't seem like the king is okay, but you already know he's not long for this earth because he's got these weird disease on his back. They were implying this guy's could drop dead probably any day from whatever disease he has. I wonder if he has like dragon scale, whatever the fuck.
Grayscale. Yeah.
And, what's it called?
Grayscale.
Yeah. Some like early version of it or whatever.
Yeah.
So like the show takes place like 110 years before Game of Thrones or something.
Oh, I think it's like almost 200. Something like that.
There's a bunch of dragons around.
Yep.
Like she rides one. He has his own dragon. Matt Smith.
Did they say they have 10 dragons? The house has 10 dragons, or
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
We saw like maybe like 3, I think.
Yeah.
I thought in Game of Thrones there was no dragons for like 1,000 years.
I seem to remember that too. But
what did they call it? Like the Game of Thrones series starts out as like a monomyth or something, and then like by the end of the series, it's just straight up like myth. Or something like fantasy. There's a word for it.
Right. I think it starts out as. I don't think that it's like high and low I think it starts out as low fantasy.
Yeah, by the end of the series, it's high fantasy.
Right.
You got dragons and White Walkers and giants running around and like.
That's what made it so good. Like I hate to compare it to the books, but the show is like it too. In the beginning, nothing feels magical. They're like, these are dire wolves. What are they? Well, they're really big wolves. Okay, they could just be wolves.
Puppies. Little puppies, and then they were like, these things are gonna they're gonna be gigantic.
And then like even the magic in the beginning, it was never like clear. It was like I'm gonna pray
to like any type of like medicine man bullshit that would have happened on this planet.
Right. And you're like, was it magic? Well, like I mean, I guess it could have been, but like
the first episode of the original series, there's a death, and clearly it was like done by some undead thing, and throughout the
Right.
first season, there's some undead characters by the wall, but they're not like White Walkers yet. There's something like
Yeah.
it's not explained. And I'm trying to think of what other the dire wolves, but again, they're still like puppies in the first season. Like they're growing, but they're not full form yet.
Well, at the end
That
of the
isn't
first
so
season, you see the first dragon. You do see a
yeah, the
dragon.
baby.
Yeah.
She's on fire. She doesn't burn, and you see the little baby dragons
Yeah.
crawling her. One of them was like sucking on her titty.
Yeah. Yeah, it was real weird. But
You
this
call it weird.
this show, The House of the Dragon, my big complaint, and it's kind of exactly what you said, is like it just didn't.
You don't have like this is the problem. You had Game of Thrones, but like you had like interesting characters right out the gate. You had like the shitty nephew. What's his name? That the shitty son of the. Oh, man, what's that?
Oh, Theon.
Little brat who gets killed eventually.
Yeah, Theon Greyjoy. Theon.
No.
Yeah, he's the kid.
No, not him. One of the
Joffrey.
Joffrey.
Yeah.
You had him. He right out the gate. He's a piece of shit.
Yep.
You had like more like there's some stars in this show, but like you had Sean Bean playing the dad. You had Peter Dinklage as Tyrion. What's his face as Jamie was great right out the gate. He was like an asshole. Like there was like more defined characters in those first couple episodes, first episode alone, and it had a big stinger in the end of the episode with like Bran climbing and fucking, seeing the wrong thing at the wrong time, catching Jamie and his sister getting it on.
Yep.
Just the way they do it.
Right.
And Oxer, he literally throws the kid out the window and says, "The things I do for love." And it ends right there. And you're like, holy shit. This is like, I was not going to watch this show. I was like, this looks like a shitty, like, wannabe Lord of the Rings to me. Like, I was like, this doesn't interest me. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it. I'm like, all right, it's pretty good. I do like Peter Dinklage a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Sean Bean. So I'll check it out. And I recognize a lot of other actors, and they're all really good. And that ending, though, with the kid getting thrown out the window, was just great. And this show, like, they had an opportunity to do like a real stinger, and I just feel like, okay, so in the episode, you basically, like I said, there's this king. There's clearly something wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
His wife's pregnant. There's a daughter that kind of like she's never going to be queen, like you know. And the king had, and so they're all desperate about getting a male heir. And he's like, this is going to be a boy. It's going to be a male heir. He'll be king. Matt Smith plays his brother. He's passed on. You're told that like he's kind of like an out of control asshole.
Yeah.
But really, like, I was just like, okay, throughout he's supposed to be this threat, but like, okay, in the first episode, Matt Smith's character gets beaten in joust.
Yep.
He gets beaten in joust. He can't fuck. They showed multiple scenes where he's like can't get which, hey, I'm not here to judge him or anything, but I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna have this guy be like the potential villain of the show, you're cucking him right out of the gate. I mean, like, he gets beaten, and then like he gets passed over as king. You're told that, like, I guess he was sent to the wall.
Yeah.
There's that one crazy scene though. I guess he has a whole bunch of hounds working for him, his own army, and they like just kill a bunch of people like to make a point or something.
I think they were supposed to be like criminals, and he was saying basically like I'm clearing up the city before the big tournament or whatever. I don't know. The whole thing was real confusing.
It was a huge massacre. They just literally killed a bunch of people.
It was like chopping dicks off.
Yeah, there's
stuff.
a whole cart filled with heads and arms. It's just really gross, which is fine.
Yeah, it was
Game of Thrones. It was a violent show. But like, I just never felt like, okay, is he supposed to be like the bad guy? I mean, like, everyone in Game of Thrones really is a bad guy. The only people that were good in any way was Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And even to a point, even though he would claim, was Tyrion.
Yeah. You knew there was more to him than meets the eye.
But he was overall, he was still a good guy. And I guess like the younger daughter to a point.
Yeah.
The one who became like the no face, whatever.
Well, there was just
But
a lot
everyone
of
else is kind of just like an asshole on that show. So Matt Smith, right out the gate, I'm like, okay, yeah, he's an asshole, but like, I'm not to be a true villain in Game of Thrones. You gotta be like just doing devious shit, like what's his face again? What's that little shit's name again?
Joffrey,
Joffrey. The Queen Lannister, the mom,
Cersei. Yeah, it was
Cersei,
just with this new one. It
the
was
Red
like
Wedding,
I just couldn't. There's no. I never felt invested in any of these characters' struggles. I was never rooting for any of them to succeed.
well, there's a great scene where the baby's breached and
Yeah.
she's not able to give birth, and he's basically being told like, you have no choice here. It's either the baby or the mother.
Yeah, save the
And
baby or save the mom.
and this is like great because this show was filmed over a year ago, but man, some of these chuds are like,
Yeah.
you're like, what the hell? This is about abortion. It's like, I mean, this shit goes on in real life.
Yeah.
This is the world you want.
Right.
This show takes place in a fantastical, barbaric past where life has no meaning. You want to live in that world, but not have the dragons or any of the cool shit. You just want to have like boils and fucking disease and shit. Like this is reality. And I'm, and again, it's like weird. It's like, it's not like Lord of the Rings where it's on a totally different planet. This more of like kind of mirrors our world a bit more.
Yeah.
Right? Lord, like Game of Thrones, it mirrors our world a little bit more, right?
Well,
like
definitely.
Up to the point when they showed that like Arya, that's her, that's our name, the daughter.
Yeah, the youngest daughter.
She's gonna go and like colonize the planet. I mean, like they show her becoming. She's gonna go up and become Christopher Columbus. I mean, like at the end of the series, this kind of mirrors our world a little more than Lord of the Rings does, and like it even like the maps and stuff can almost look like Europe and like Middle East and like.
Well, and they clearly have regions. Like you some of the characters look like, oh, well, that's supposed to be their version of the Middle East, or oh, that's supposed to be their version of
the North.
Vikings.
Obviously, you get going to like Iceland and Greenland, and that beyond that is the wall, and like the frozen tundra where people can't really live anyway. It's like there's like the
movies. The TV show definitely makes it seem more like our world. I know in the books they kind of go out of their way to say it's not, and in the show they get that a little bit because it's like it has a different orbit, because the seasons work differently. There's like years and years of winter and then years and years of summer.
Well, you could also say like the Earth has had ice ages.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's true. Yeah,
you could say that there's. I mean, obviously it's not Earth, but it mirrors it more.
Yeah, much more.
So I'm saying like that scene with the birth is like unsettling, and the thing is it's tragic too because not just does he truly loves his wife, is like he's not a bad king. I watched the feature after and they talk about it. Like he did not want to. It shows you like how powers. He did not want to be king.
Right.
Or he had no intention of being king. It's kind of given to him versus like Matt Smith who craves power, his character. So it's like the one who really wants the power is usually going to be the shitbag.
Right.
But this guy truly loves his wife. So it's like this, but it's important to have a male heir. And then the tragedy in the end anyway is the son dies too.
They both die.
Nothing. He has no wife now. That was fucking. So the hand basically tells his daughter to basically go have sex with the king. Dress up in your mother's outfit, your dead mother's outfit.
Yeah.
Remember that scene?
Yeah.
It's basically telling like his daughter. The daughter is, I don't know, what is she? She's like the princess is like assistant, but there's honestly something going on with those two.
Yeah.
Some lesbianic action.
It wouldn't surprise me, if that's where that eventually goes.
Well, there's a part when the girl, it was like earlier in the episode, and they show her, she's riding the dragon, she lands, that girl shows up, and she's like laying in her lap, and she basically says something like, I could lay here forever or whatever. So like, hey, nothing wrong with that. It's the 90s, bro.
It is it's the 2790s. It is a weird show in that the relationship between the characters is difficult to figure out. I wonder if the show will get better when those become clearer.
I mean, I'll definitely give it a couple more episodes.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah, me too.
despise it, but like I said, okay, so in the end of the episode, the king he's like, fuck it. He decides, I should have done this years ago. The daughter is now in line to be
right.
And it's probably out of guilt of like the mother dying, his wife. There's definitely guilt involved. Like I basically sacrificed my wife for this ridiculous like rule or whatever. It's like I'm the fucking king. I do what I want. So she's in line. It's a slap in the face to the brother because the brother. It shows the brother, but I just never felt like I don't know if it's Matt Smith's performance or they're trying to hold back. I just didn't. He didn't like. Okay, if they really want to show him be evil, after he lost the joust, fucking cuts the guy from Dorne's head off.
Yeah, right.
And he's like,
yeah,
it's me.
That's what I expected. Honestly, that's what I expected to happen.
Yeah, and maybe maybe they're showing there is like this. He's not a complete monster. There is some, or he's more calculating. Okay, so in the end, they make this big deal. They like one, he hates his wife or something. I don't know. They show him with his wife in it. You don't see him the whole time. They're saying she's like ugly or whatever. I'm like, oh, she looked like everyone else on the show.
Right, yeah.
She just wasn't. She was no Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Right.
Or Lauren Boebert. We'll talk about that later. That was a pre-talk.
Yes. Yeah.
But he has some like crazy badass dragon that he rides, and I thought like, okay, the show's gonna end with him fucking just burning to cinders. Maybe like the daughter survives, but the king dies. Like,
right.
Almost all the what do they call it? Not the council. What are they?
The small council.
Like they all die. Maybe the sister lives, the queen of who never was. That character.
That was cool, yeah.
With her husband and the kids, like they're kind of like. There's definitely like I think it's so funny that like the queen that never was, like that's like an insult and I don't know, like that's a backhanded title to have. What?
It's pretty grim, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to expect from the show. I thought it was kind of like when you said that first Game of Thrones episode has that amazing hook in the end.
Yeah.
You can't. So, like, what better way would it have been to just have, like, Matt Smith's character on that top of that fucking crazy dragon just fucking attack the city? Now, maybe in this next episode he will.
Yeah, could be.
Oh, who knows? I have no idea. Or maybe the show's just going to suck. You know, I mean, Martin writing it. He's not writing
I've heard that he has a lot of input into the story. I don't think he's writing the scripts or anything, but I think he's guiding the story. And from what I understand, he wrote like a little show Bible, or story
for
Bible.
There was another show that was canceled before, like they made the pilot, and it started like, what's her face from like Hollywood Ending and King Kong? I forgot that actress's name.
Yeah.
And she was like the big star in that show. They filmed the pilot and it canceled it. I forgot what it was called and what error it took place in.
Well, my suspicion is that would have been more interesting than this because I don't know. I mean, I know what happens. The family begins to go mad and the king goes crazy and they squander their dragons and then
that show also took place in the past. Like, well, hold on, let me see something real quick. I want to see the name of that show that got canceled. So the actress's name is Naomi Watts.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna write Naomi Watts canceled Game of Thrones spinoff. The spinoff of the hit HBO show, which ended in 2019, was due to be set thousands of years before Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah.
With Naomi Watts as the lead. It canceled in 2019 after the pilot episode was filmed on the same day a new sequel, House of Dragon, was announced. So they spent $30 million on the episode, and Bauer was one of the stars cast for the planned Game of Thrones spinoff, which even shot a pilot with Naomi Watts. It seemed like the concept 1,000 years before the flagship series would be the first Thrones successor show. It was canceled.
See, that would be interesting, I think. I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
It was called Blood Moon.
Oh.
which is like the magic, right? Wasn't that
Yeah,
like the Red Witch or
right.
whatever? So the HBO chief content officer, blah blah blah, agreed. Blood Moon was very well produced, but simply not what the network was looking for from the first ever spin-off in its history. It didn't take me the place as the original series. Okay.
Well,
whatever. I mean, this one, like, it looks great, but maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some sick shit coming up. But I just feel like as a first episode, it just missed something.
the first episode has to nail it, and this didn't.
Especially with Game of Thrones. I'm sorry, but like you need a reason for existence. Now, what I personally would prefer was if it took place 100 years after Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. There's a lot of
I would prefer that. Then that way you don't have to worry about. You can introduce even more characters, and you can have some heirs of like Jon Snow, whatever. Or maybe find out Jon Snow is still alive, and he's like a really old man.
Right.
What?
You can have all sorts of crazy shit.
But I just feel like when you do these fucking prequels, they just you
get hedged in.
You get hedged in, especially with like a series that like is not that old. Now, like Star Trek can do a prequel because no one really cares if they like. There's some nerds will go crazy, but you can like finesse things because you're dealing with really gonna be locked in place with a show that was made in the 60s for a budget of $10. Like,
there's some loose continuity there.
You can like fuck with things a bit, like they've done that for years. But like Game of Thrones, like the show just came out. It's like, I don't know. I would have done it many years later. I like this one guy I saw on Twitter. It was like concept. It should have been 800 years later, and it takes place like in a Game of Thrones is like a turn of the century look. And it's pre like 1920s. Now it would have been way too different from
that would have been
fantasy.
Good though.
But like that could have been kind of interesting. Or like I said, or just again 200 years later. Or I don't know. Or like I almost like the idea of 1,000 years earlier because then you're like, who cares about like
they're basically like who knows what they're like. I mean, they're like more like Aboriginal folk or something, I mean, like they don't have a giant.
Well, I mean, like the wall. How old's the wall supposed to be? In Game of Thrones?
Old. I think real old.
Was it like 1,000 years or something?
Sounds right. Well, I don't. Geez, I'd have to go back and really find. They were supposedly relatively new to that continent, Westeros. That was the whole thing. Is these families were like. These families, I know at the very end, Arya goes off to colonize some other place, but these families were supposed to be like colonists from a even older place, Well,
where is this show supposed to take place? Did they say?
Yeah, it's supposed to be in Westeros.
Okay,
because that's supposed to be. I always
assume that Westeros. So the Starks are like from the UK.
Yep.
Scotland, Britain, Ireland. The Dorne are like Libya. Like Middle East countries that are closer to Europe.
Right, the North African ones.
Yeah.
Or what
like Westeros is like Spain or Italy.
Yeah.
Like because it's a little warmer of a climate, it's a little warmer.
More Mediterranean,
More Mediterranean. And like they're from the north. And then the Dorne are like like I said, Libya or whatever, Czechoslovakia.
That would make sense. They said that George R. Martin based this off of the War of the Roses, which was a war in England, like a legitimate war, and he took a lot of like plot cues from that war. I don't know,
or like Turkey.
Yeah,
it's like that area.
The old Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, because you have like Greece is literally right across Bulgaria. Like they're all across the water. I don't know. That's how I always got the impression. So in the end, Arya is
going off to North America.
She's gonna end up in the Caribbean or some shit.
See, in the books, I think you're right. They all have those vibes, but the way they present it is that you're supposed to. These are all 5 families or so fighting over a new continent. They've been there for a while, but they're in North America. and the green folk. What are they called? The forest people. Anyway, they're you know the twins that helped Bran with
Yeah, weren't they
Hodor.
supposed to be from Beyond the Wall or something?
Well, they were supposed to be like the Native Americans or the Aboriginal folk of Westeros. They were the original inhabitants.
What was the other guy's name? The King, Beyond the Wall or something?
Yeah, the King Beyond the Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was a former Knights Black Watch guy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think so.
yeah. All right.
I don't
Well,
know. We'll
yeah.
see. I mean, I'll give it another shot or two.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something for me to put on while I'm drawing.
Sure.
The difference. Okay, here's the difference on a show. She-Hulk, I don't draw. I watch She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Most Marvel properties, Star Wars, I watch.
Yep.
First Game of Thrones, that's a show I'm watching. I'm not
Yeah.
going to be drawing. Now, maybe if there's like just a bunch of talking heads or something.
Sure.
So this show will either be, is this a show that I'm invested in, or is it just background fodder for when I'm drawing?
Right. Yeah. We'll
That's how I
see.
treat it. It's like, yeah. All right. So what else were we going to talk about?
Oh well, you were going to briefly talk about the Warner Brothers.
Okay, so real quick, they just
yeah.
announced recently. I don't really know the details about this, but like, so recently, like Batgirl was canceled and some Scooby Doo thing, and like, it's just this guy, this new CEO, like Discovery bought Warner. They're just fucking with the content. They like supposedly removed a bunch of shit recently.
Yeah.
A lot of they're like really ruining like taking a lot of cartoon series.
A lot of the
down.
anime stuff and
what?
A lot of the anime stuff I think is getting torn down.
A lot of Cartoon Network stuff. And like some of they said is that if they don't have it on there, they don't have to pay any royalties to anything.
Yeah.
That's one reason why they probably took it down. And who the hell knows? Like I said, Discovery, the shit that's on Discovery is garbage. Like it's the reality TV crap. Supposedly this guy, I don't know much about him, but I mean, like a movie. You take a movie that you could release, but you're like, nah, I'll just throw it in the trash, so we'll get a tax return or something.
Yeah,
it was like right. It was for like a tax refund or something.
Yeah.
Shit. And legally, they're not allowed. You're never going to see it. Legally, they cannot show it.
It's like the worst person possible is put in charge of an artistic endeavor. I mean, like, I know they got to make money. I know they got to turn a profit.
People are like, listen, maybe he thought the Batgirl movie wasn't good. Like, of course, all the chuds are like, yeah, they're going to make the movies less woke. Like, that's not it, buddy. Yeah. That's like, first of all, if Batgirl sucks, who cares? Just dump it on HBO Max. Someone's going to give a shit. You make another fucking movie and you just move on. They've already established, unlike Marvel, they already established that most of these things don't really tie into each other. All you have to do is say Batgirl and tie into each other. Yeah. Okay, move on. So, supposedly they had like a funeral for it. They watched it.
I heard that they had some secret screenings where like the cast and a few people got to watch the film or the.
Now this is what I heard, and this is probably bullshit. The rumor is that supposedly the movie was just like a slow, like a bad CW episode of one of their, and it is possible.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think the whole thing's shady. It just sounds weird. You filmed the whole thing. I mean, those guys who directed it were the guys who worked on Miss Marvel. They seem to be competent. Like, it couldn't have been that bad. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't just, like I said, you just dump it. And if it's not that good, you move on because it's just content for streaming. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You don't want it on HBO Max? Oh my God, it's on Netflix.
Right.
You know, like,
it's frustrating. And even more frustrating is that I think they're really going to fuck up HBO Max. I think
they are. I don't know. It's weird.
HBO Max is a great streaming service. It's got so much good content. Like unexpected. I watched Chinatown the other day. Like
there's a lot of like classic cinema on there.
Yep.
And there's a lot of shows on there too. But the big announcement today was, and this was like weird, is that they basically announced that WB ran out of money, so they can only put out 2 movies this year. So all these other movies that they were working on pushed back. One of them is the only movies now. There's two movies come out. It's freaking August. Two movies come out this year. The Black Adam,
Yep.
which makes sense. It's a big one. And
Yeah.
then some movie. I forgot the name of it. It's like a weird movie.
I'd never heard of it. Yeah.
I saw the trailer for it. It's like some almost like a Stepford Wives type thing going on.
Oh yeah, no, that
Yeah.
does look really good. I take that back.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's just insane that $1 billion company doesn't have the money to release. They can only put out 2 movies. Like
Yeah.
that sounds fishy as fuck.
Yeah, I don't
know.
trust.
I don't trust this. The CEO guy seems like I don't know what's going on here. Supposedly, like CNN, which is owned by it's all owned by the same thing. From what I'm hearing, they're definitely been pushing more to the right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the content supposedly is becoming more right leaning. I don't understand why. That's what the world needs. More Fox News is. It's like
Right.
what the fuck.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I don't know. It's weird. I'm gonna look it up real quick, see if there's like anything about it that like came out about it, because it's just super weird. Like, I mean, you only have money. I never heard that before.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I've never heard of like.
Oh, I heard Movie Pass is coming back.
What?
I heard Movie Pass is coming back.
What is that shit? Isn't that like the thing where you supposedly in the theater stop paying, like they wouldn't honor it or something?
You just pay like $20 a month and you can see as many movies as you want for free.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I mean, it used to be that was like a big deal because there's a bunch of movies out, but like if you're only going to put out 2 movies, maybe it's not that cost prohibitive. Maybe your $20 movie pass subscription, that's going to average out, so you're paying $30 per movie you see if there's only 2 of them available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's others.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
But I want to see. I want to see if I can find anything about it. WB. Let's go look it up. See if there's like.
Well, I don't think this bodes well for HBO Max, which sucks because that is one of my favorite streaming platforms. There's always interesting shit to watch on there. It's deep. You can anybody can find anything on there that they'd be interested in. There's classic movies, there's anime, there's new blockbusters, there's TV shows. It's a shame because it's like a really well put together library. You find it?
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah.
Dan Lin is in talks to take over as DC chief and oversee future film and television. He was previously produced the It movies, the Lego movies, and Netflix live action Avatar Last Airbender series. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're just like doing a whole rework, and like next year they'll have like a bunch of shit, and they're just like, it could be that they're trying to like refresh it. I don't know. Maybe I think like that app is a different story, but maybe this has more to do with the content they were putting out, not outside the app that has old movies and stuff you like. But maybe it's something to do with the content isn't like living up to what they want. I don't know. I think it's too late for them though to try to so the Flash movie, which well, the problem with the Flash movie is that the stars is fuck up. And they're trying to do damage control on him now. Like he got supposedly he's apologizing, he's getting help. I think you're fucked. I'm sorry. There's so much shit on that guy. Like all this weird stuff's gonna come out about him. They could try to do they could do whatever they want. They can contain a story.
Sure.
Stuff they could say shit's a conspiracy. They could say, they could just say, oh, those are just MAGA chuds that are saying it. And that's it's kind of funny. We're talking about conspiracies. Like all you need is like Alex Jones to say it, and you lose like a huge you lose all the belief behind it. Like just get Alex Jones, go out there and tell everybody the truth, and then then no one will believe it.
That's a good idea. They should like slip him some footage of Ezra Miller doing crazy stuff.
And then people will be backing Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
That's the reaction, like your normal reflex is Jones is so disgusting person. So that movie was supposed to reset DC. It was supposed to be like a total reset. You had like Ben Affleck coming back as Batman. You had the Michael Keaton Batman. You had like all the different universes, and it was going to kind of like Like this is what the DC universe is. But I just feel like at this point, they screwed up years ago. They got the wrong guy to run the ship.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder did not have a vision that was the size of an MCU universe. It was more just like, I want to make these 2 movies, and that was it. He wanted to make 2 Justice League movies and a couple of like spin-off movies.
Yeah.
But his ideas would have like stopped there. I just think the idea of like a contained DC universe is just not going to happen. Just make good movies, make good content, and if they're good enough organically, people will, then you could have connective tissue and say like, oh yeah, this movie and this movie are all in the same universe.
You can start to stitch them together.
Yeah, and I think that's the way they should have done it. It's kind of funny though. Did you see they announced Joker 2, and I guess they're working on it, and fucking, I guess it mostly takes place in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga's in it and plays Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And it's a musical.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's stupid.
I'll bet you it's going to be. Well, look, a musical.
What's Xanadu?
No, because like they said, I heard them say it's going to be like A Star Is Born, and
didn't she just star in a movie called A Star Is Born?
Yeah,
remake?
Yeah, but like they said, it's going to be a musical, like in that sense. And in A Star Is Born, there's like 3 or 4 songs. I mean, it was
okay,
and
so it's
they
not
were
like
like
musical.
No, they were worked into the movie where she's like a lounge singer, you know, and so
I'm kind of fine with this Joker, like just kind of existing on his own.
Yeah.
Batman does not exist in this world, even though they introduced Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
And like it's just this miserable, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it'll be good. Joker was surprisingly a decent movie.
Oh yeah.
But I just think like that's a weird, you know, when you say like, okay, we're gonna make a sequel to Joker. Oh, cool. I can't wait. What's it gonna be about? All right, we got this great idea. It mostly takes place at Arkham Asylum. Oh wow, that's actually pretty cool. I'm interested. What else? Well, we're gonna have Harley Quinn in it. Whoa, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. Joker and Harley Quinn in a movie together? Sign me up.
Right.
It's played by Lady Gaga. I mean, I guess that could be cool.
Sure,
I've seen her in like American Horror Story and some other stuff. She can act. I could see that. And it's going to be a musical.
Right.
What? Sorry.
Yeah. There's something that might be a bridge too far, but
like you said, if it's more like there's just some songs in it.
I think that's what it's going to be. Like, I don't think it's going to be, they're going to be singing dialogue.
No half measures. You go all the way in. There's a song. There's like 2 seconds of dialogue that lead into the next song.
Yeah.
There's no fucking break. It's just one endless. I get that fucking Gaz Berman or whatever that fucking guy is.
Yeah, Boz Lerman. Yeah. Boz Lerman.
Boz Lerman. Get him in the fucking directed. Have what's his face play Toulouse-Lautrec again.
Yeah.
Fuck, go all out. Who cares? You know, make it like fucking Romeo and Juliet with the Capri.
Right. Yeah.
God. I remember that as a kid.
I watched Romeo and Juliet again. Actually, I think it's on HBO Max.
No, Romeo and Juliet. That movie's a classic.
I watched it like a couple months ago. It does not hold up super well. Romeo and Juliet.
The DiCaprio one.
Yeah, it's fine, but it's like it looks old.
Well, it is. It's like came out in like the mid '90s.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
I always like my only favorite part of that movie is Brian Dennehy, I guess, plays one of the fathers. I like there's like a gang war. It's like playing into the actual story of the feud.
Yeah.
And it's a gang war. And Brian Dennehy's like in a helicopter and he's like, "Hand me my sword." But it's like
a rocket launcher or something.
Assault rifle that just says sword. Like the assault rifle is literally mounted on a wall and it says sword on it. I was like, oh, this is so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. I loved it back in the day. It's not aged super well.
I'm sure it hasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of, I guess now that we talked about fantastical.
Yeah, a little shift to like the practical matters. The big news. The first thing we were going to talk about was that today, Joe Biden.
Joe Brandon. Joe Dark Brandon.
Did you see that great meme where they take Thanos snapping his fingers, but they have Joe Biden's head on it, and it says that he's snapping away half the student loans in the country.
Yeah, I think I've seen those cringe
he
ones.
he
It's
well, he forgave it's a range between $10,000 and $20,000 depending on your circumstances. He forgave a lot of student loans today.
now what's the deal? Because supposedly they've been like kind of forgiving him, but they keep like extending the date. What's the difference now?
They've been in I want to say it's called forbearance, and it's basically like if you owe a loan you got to pay on it every month, but they've since COVID they've been in forbearance, which means you don't have to repay them, you get a pause. Now I do forget whether or not interest continues to accrue or if the interest is paused, but basically people have gotten a break from paying their student loans, and they've had a break for a few years now.
Well,
So
I mean, COVID kind of fucked things up. People
yeah,
lost their jobs.
well,
Like,
it's weird because like on one hand, like this isn't going to this is a very, very big deal, and it's a huge deal to a lot of people, but it's not going to like immediately change their lives in a practical sense, because most of them haven't been paying these student loans back. They just haven't, because they haven't had to, but they've had this sword of Damocles hanging above their head of these student loans that are like
Ben Shapiro is very upset about this.
Yes.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's very upset.
Yep.
Matt Gates, all the Republican talking heads, they all have something to say.
Yeah.
They don't really have they start off first with like, why should I pay it back? That's your problem. Really go, that's the way to do it. Take something that's very popular and well received by people and be like, I'm a piece of shit. I don't like things.
Jim Jordan tried to do that this morning. He said, why should a machinist in Ohio pay for an unemployed philosophy major's student debt in LA?
Classic GOP trick.
Exactly.
Play people against each other. Create a fantastical scenario. Of course, the only people who go to college are liberal art professors, while the true salt of the earth, the people that work the dirty jobs that we only know about from that fake the failed actor who became a fake working class guy. What's that guy's name?
God, what is his name? I know exactly who you're talking about.
The fake working guy.
Yeah.
He's like just a failed actor.
Yeah. Well, I think what Jim Jordan forgot
those are the real people. These people understand that life is supposed to be miserable and sucks, and that you're supposed to be happy when corporations get all the tax dollars, that they're not responsible to pay any taxes, or they could do buybacks, or the billionaires don't have to pay taxes either. They understand that what, it's not about having good health care or steady income or pension. It's knowing that you woke up and worked 16 hours a day in a sawdust mill.
Well, what he forgot is that it's easy to do that when you're talking about people migrating from Central America, because most Americans haven't recently migrated from Central America. And it's easy to do that when you're talking about people on, living in the inner city and on welfare, because most Americans probably don't have that experience. But going to college and taking out debt, that's like the experience of a lot of people in Ohio. I think
that's the experience of most Americans in this day, of people whose parents went to college and they didn't have those same bills.
I saw someone said that when Mitch McConnell was bitching about it on Twitter, and someone looked up when Mitch McConnell went to school. When Mitch McConnell went to college, it was like $300 to go to college, like for 4 years.
Wasn't it like heavily subsidized by the government?
Yeah.
My dad went to college for free.
Yeah.
Didn't like basically Reagan as governor in California ended free college?
In California, you used to be able to go to any state university for free, and that's not the case anymore.
Thanks to Reagan, right? Was it under the Reagan?
Yeah, I think so. But
didn't it seems like most of almost every out of control thing seemed to start during the Reagan years, right? Like,
that's because
colleges probably went up.
Yeah, they wanted to make it more of a not a user fee, but something like that, where like, look, if you want to go to college, you can pay for it. And they were 100% like that with a lot of things like toll roads and stuff like that. But for other things, they were a lot more like, let's all pitch in and pay for it, like tax cuts for the rich or stadiums for
All
billionaires
right, we
or
chipped in for the tax cuts for the rich. Now help us. We don't have any money left because you gave it to the rich.
yeah. Well, it's kind
And
of
here's the
crazy.
funny
Like,
thing about rich people: they don't spend it. At
yeah,
least they don't spend it as much on what you think they spend
they
it on.
hoard it. The I think a lot of people are really going to benefit this, and if they don't benefit it from it personally, they're going to have a son or a daughter or someone, or they're going to have a
It's just going to
relative
make
that
things a little bit better for people. It's just crazy because at the end of the day, it is still it's kind of a half measure. It doesn't go as far as it
yeah
should. But the joke is that we know that this isn't like it's okay. It's
yeah
fine. It's something being done. It's something that's being done that was not done,
right
which is great. It's like, people complain about the ACA, say it didn't do much. Well, guess what? There's a whole group of people that had previous conditions that probably have a lot of different,
ACA
people were
really
born
helped
with
me. Yeah,
birth defects, people born with diseases. Those were considered previous conditions. People don't realize that. Like you had
oh
no
yeah,
control of that. You were born, oh, I'm sorry I exist. That you don't want to cover me. Well, guess what? Say that to all the people who have that now. That's a huge difference. And this is going to make a huge difference. And the Republicans, though, they act like we are just throwing the
right,
farm. Communism is here. We're the end of capitalism, end of America as we know it. People are just going to eat avocado toast now.
yeah,
People are not good. People don't want to work anymore. And like, which is funny because a lot of these chuds that are saying this are all people who took PP loans.
yep,
And those loans, the irony is, those loans were forgiven. Why is
yeah,
Matt Gates $479,000 PPP loan forgiven? And
yeah.
some dude who is trying to get by gets a $10,000 forgiveness. It's just going to help at least help them out a little bit, save them maybe a year or two of debt.
Well, it's
While
a
Matt
real
Gates,
it's
go
a
ahead.
real bizarre thing to argue against. I mean, like student loan debt relief, the people that are against it, they're pretty against it, but like I think overall it's a pretty popular notion, you know.
I mean, like, here's the thing: we all pay fucking taxes,
Yeah,
and this is the thing. This is the plain simple truth about the GOP and right wing commentators like Ben Shapiro, Stephen Crowder, Sean Hannity. You see that audio of Sean Hannity like having disdain about his workers and saying
yeah,
like, dude, you're gonna have so much of boogers and cum in your coffee.
yuck,
I hope you like it. Enjoy your extra creamy coffee. You
yeah,
fucking douchebag. He's like all this, like, what the hell? He's like, I love these people too. They're like, well, I worked and I had a summer job and I saved all my money for college. Like, no, you didn't. Probably came from a very well-to-do family. College wasn't as expensive back
not
then.
nearly, yeah,
And you were able to use your money that you made from Walmart or whatever, or McDonald's, whatever the hell you fucking claim to work, to fuck off and buy beer with your friends and go to
yep,
Cancun or something, while your parents actually paid for your fucking college and it wasn't as expensive. Because, I mean, the joke is you got guys who are like my dad's college was free. Brooklyn, I think he went to Brooklyn
right,
College. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. Or Queens College, one of those, and it was free back then. I mean, these things were subsidized by the government, and you got all these guys like they don't have an argument. They don't have a good argument. They either come off. This is what they do. They have two ways of doing it. They come off like selfish ghouls, where they're like, "Well, I paid. Why should
yeah,
you?" Or they try to do three things. They try to do the poor attempt of Jim Jordan, where it's like, why should the dirtbag that works in the mill have to pay for the elite snob, latte
yeah,
drinking snob? And then the other one is, this is another tactic. They're just going to raise the rates even more. Like, it's
yeah,
just like a doomer response. Like, they're just going to
right.
make it more corrupt, man. You're
Well,
screwed either way, brother. It's like, they don't really have a winning argument. They
not
don't
with
have
this,
anything.
no,
They don't have anything, though.
yeah,
I
it
mean, like,
is,
here, let's look. Go
it
ahead.
is weird because so many of them, um, so many of them fought for, tax breaks for the rich and for different like giveaways and stuff. It's just unusual to see them argue against this, which is real popular, and it's money going directly back to people. I don't know.
It's just, again, it's like anything, they were against, like they would make these lies about the inflation cap or the environmental stuff or any of the benefits that they're coming out of the infrastructure bill. They lie about it and they don't have any truth. Or, we'll get into this later, but like, was it like Steven Crowder like tweeted this bullshit saying today that like, because like Hobby Lobby wasn't covering birth control. It's a known fucking fact. They don't cover it. They took them that literally went to court to make sure they didn't have to cover it. Neil Gorsuch was like the deciding judge or the lawyer, or he worked on that case. And Steve Crowder claimed that, Hobby Lobby covers up to 16 versions of birth control. And like, people were like, where? Prove it, lying piece of shit. These guys, all they do is fucking lie, these people. So like, let me pull up whitehouse.org, the White House, man.
Yeah, this was great.
They hired like some really good let me see if I can find it.
They have a communications director running the White House Twitter account
she's like 16 or something. I don't know.
I think she's like,
probably in her late 20s, 30s. Clearly had to handle Twitter. So the White House Twitter account has basically did a thread where they go after every Republican claiming how bad this is. And saying, Marjorie Taylor Greene, for our government just to say, okay, your debt is completely forgiven, it's completely unfair. White House, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene had $183,504 PPP loan forgiven. And this was forgiven during the Trump presidency.
Right, yeah.
Congressman Mike Kelly asking plumbers and carpenters to pay off the loans of Wall Street advisors and lawyers isn't just unfair, it's also bad policy. First of all, how about like teachers, nurses, people who just work in the office? Some people go to college, like most, and they don't pay well those jobs.
Yeah.
These are not even good paying jobs, and they demand that you have a degree. Congressman Mike Kelly had $987,237 PPP loan forgiven. Almost $1 billion. And this motherfucker is telling people like, how dare this plebeian get $20,000 or $10,000 forgiven? Like, what the fuck? Matt Gaetz, everyone knows that I'm a sex trafficker. Weird tweet Matt Gaetz put out there. That's crazy. Why would he do that?
Gonna hire you.
Everyone knows that in a 60 billion plus European land war, it's always the last 3 billion that kicks in the door. Okay, so he's making like a Ukraine, doing the job of Putin for, spewing anti-Ukrainian, pro-Russia rhetoric.
Well,
that's cool.
Someone had mentioned that too. That like for weeks, a lot of Republicans have been saying, "Stop sending money to the Ukrainians. Start sending it to average Americans." And then Biden starts sending money to average Americans, and the Republicans are like, well, don't do that either. Don't send money to average Americans. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's the joke. Yeah. So, Congressman Matt Gaetz had $482,321 in PPP loans forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a whole bunch. It's so funny. Dude, these guys are fucking hypocrites. I was thinking too, Crowder said something. They were like, he had almost $80,000 in PPP loans.
Yeah.
Quartering some douchebag online whose half his content was that he was upset he couldn't jerk off to She-Ra's food. Like literally, like that was his content. He got a PPP loan. I'll give this. Tim Pool, my friend on Twitter.
Yeah, right.
We've engaged in so many conversations on Twitter.
Deep into the night, yeah.
If any big event, he might become the godfather of my son. I mean, who knows? Clearly, I'll be inviting him over for Thanksgiving dinner.
Get your son a little beanie to wear.
Yeah, we'll all wear beanies, because we want him, we like our guests to feel welcome.
Right, yes.
And we'll all eat out of our prepper buckets that we bought from his, online and throw up on him.
Right.
He actually was one of the first people who brought the PPP loan. I guess he didn't take one. And he could have, and he called out the hypocrisy. And he is a classic fence sitter move.
He is.
Fence sitter move. got to throw that out there. Shake it up like, hey, look at me. I'm not a total right wing. That was it. Okay, so he responded to the thing about the that woman that works for him, where I just made the joke saying
Right.
she would date him, and he tweeted this unnecessarily long explanation of why
Yeah.
that won't happen. That was really funny. But then he tweeted out some like anti-vaxxer shit, or I wouldn't call it outright anti-vaxxer shit. It's more just like it's coy. It's like a anti it's hesitancy. It's
Yeah, it's
vaccine
vaccine
hesitancy.
hesitancy. That's the perfect, yeah.
It works in a way of like getting people to doubt vaccines.
Right.
They're not coming outright saying that they cause autism or they cause this or they cause this. It's more just like, hey, isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? I mean, I'm just a guy. I'm just some dude.
Yeah, it's a pretty sneaky strategy.
So I just said, you know, I mean, I think I have like the real quick.
Yeah. Well, you had said something about.
I said you and the right wing constantly spread misinformation on vaccines, and he wrote, "What did I say wrong about vaccines?" And then you sent me a couple of things, and one of them was I just retweeted the one he sent me back. I sent it back to him, saying, "Once you get your 10th booster punched out on your Vax card, you get a free yogurt." And it's like, again, people are like, oh, I'm like, I'm pointing out that he's full of shit.
Yeah.
And then there was another one I found where I said like it was like him retweeting some bullshit from Joe Rogan about some disease that's being caused by the vaccines causing in children. It's complete bullshit. And it kind of stopped there. But again, he back to the loans. He was one of the few MAGA people that hypocritically took one. And I tweeted earlier today too. I said, all these people. Oh, I actually tweeted on his thing. I said that because he said about the loans, and I kind of was agreeing with him. And I said, yeah, and especially from people who didn't take the virus seriously or said it didn't exist.
Right.
I'm sorry, you should not have out of your integrity or whatever you have. You should not have taken that loan. The virus was not real. It didn't exist. It was made up. Why would you take it? Why would you do that? Why would you take this dirty money? This dirty, evil COVID money that's made by the evil government. Like,
I don't think like intellectual consistency is really a
well, the quarter like said straight up, he's like, of course I'm gonna take it. I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the most honest thing this fucking guy has said the whole time.
Well, this student loan debt relief is a big deal. It's going to help a lot of people. I think it's kind of it's nice to see Biden rack up some like pretty significant legislative accomplishments. This is a good time to do it.
It's like, I mean, we are literally entering the midterm elections now. I think are all the primaries done now?
If not, they're close. If not, they're close. I mean,
the election's November 8th. We're already at it's going to be September next week.
Yeah.
This was a brilliant move. And the Republicans, man, they took the bait, man, and they fucked it up. And the best was Biden. He was like, a reporter asked him. It was like like as he's leaving, they asked him something about like the forgiveness thing, and I could try to find it.
Yeah, he had it was just a real quick comeback.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
There are people who hate the student loan or chose not to take out loans.
It's fair to people who, in fact, do not own multi-billion-dollar businesses and see one of these guys get more affected. Is that fair? What do you think?
What about people who pay their loans, so struggle to pay their loans, and now others don't have to?
It's like, again, okay, so that was a good reaction. And again, it's like, my parent died of cancer, or my wife or her husband, whatever, kid died of cancer. So therefore, all people should die of cancer.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck
it's just not a good way. It makes you a shitty person to say stuff like that, you know?
I mean, like, yeah, okay, they made gay marriage legal. There are people who could not get married. I'm sure those people are happy. If they're alive or dead or whatever, I'm sure somewhere in the world they're like, wow, we never thought this would happen. You know, there's people, you know what? There used to be slaves
Right.
in this country. I'm sure the ghosts, they would be happy, like, I mean, like,
Right.
it's such a stupid. There's a great meme of a train running over people,
Yeah.
and then the guy moving the track to make sure the next 4 people tied on the track don't get killed. And the one person's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Those people are like, they're supposed to die too."
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous. And it goes again. We were talking about this before, so I want to make sure. The rank constantly contradicts itself because, okay,
Yep.
a good example is they're always have the argument, go back to gun control. Their argument is good got the gun. Okay, so almost every situation where a supposed good guy comes into the picture, there's some that are able to top. Usually those are like the ones where like a guy stops another guy before anything happens. It's usually like in a store robbery.
Right.
It's not a dude running in with a fucking AR-15 shooting up a place. It's
No.
usually like,
It's like a luck of the draw. Like, yeah.
but sometimes there's these incidents where there was one a couple of months, like a month or 2 ago, where a guy took out a person who shot up a bunch of people in the mall. And the argument they make is always like, well, I would say, well, a bunch of people died. They're like, oh yeah, well, now a bunch of people are alive because the good guy
Right.
the gun.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying, but we could also avoid those guys dying. But
Right.
why doesn't that logic not work for other things? Like, hey, yeah, those other people struggle to pay those stupid loans, predatory loans that they all took.
Yeah.
Maybe to make American society better, and actually probably strengthen our economy because people have more money to
Right.
go out, eat, buy things, pay off the loan, pay off other loans,
Start families.
Start families, buy homes. It's like, you got guys like, how come that logic doesn't transfer? What did you say? You had a funny joke, man. You can't forget that joke.
Yeah,
guy
no,
with the gun. What did you say?
I said Joe Biden is the good guy with the check. I mean, he's well,
landed just as well as it did.
Yeah, it's a solid.
No, that's a good. No, but it's true.
But it is.
It's
I mean,
true.
like, this is. You're right. The analogy is that a good guy with a gun can very rarely, maybe sometimes occasionally, can stop a tragedy from happening. The tragedy still shouldn't have been happening or whatever, but like, if you're going to crow about stuff like that, Joe Biden's walking into a pretty shitty situation with predatory lending, a lot of people in debt, and he's going to make this will significantly improve people's lives. Real specific people improve their lives in real specific ways.
The right will say, like, this hurts people of color. But, like, actually, no. If anything, this probably helps women of color more. Help people of color. It helps them more. Like, this is complete bullshit. They know.
And it's not. We're not talking about the federal government having X amount of money and making a choice that it's going to go to these people instead of other people. There's other money for other people.
The right is doing the classic, this is redistribution of wealth bullshit. Well, you know what was redistribution of wealth? The tax cuts.
Yeah,
that is redistribution of wealth.
We can still do other things. Do you have another group of people that you'd like to have money go to? Like, let us know. Maybe we agree on it.
My favorite was that one I sent you that I oh my God, it's so stupid.
We just sent a bunch of money to Kentucky to help people recover from a flood.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. I mean, like, there's plenty of Texas here in Dallas. There's terrible flooding. They're going to get federal money for that. Nobody's going to like pitch a fit and demand that.
I thought they were going to succeed. I thought all these states were succeeding. I was like, oh, that was great. Someone right wing. I forgot her name. She's terrible. I see her on Twitter all the time, and she said something about succeeding. And I said, do it. I would love to see you do it. It would be, go ahead. Like, all the blue states pretty much pay to subsidize the red states. Like, come on. Like, they know, or maybe they don't because they didn't know. We're going to talk about that in a little bit about abortion. Well, most of these people didn't. They're shocked to find out, like, all the real negative of taking away this important thing.
My favorite is when they say that.
Here it is. Go ahead. What?
Well, when they say they're going to secede, They always kind of point out, well, like, what food will blue states eat? They forget that the number one food production state in the country is California.
Yeah.
More food comes
Yeah.
out of there than anywhere else.
You know where Idaho potatoes are made?
Oregon,
California.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of agriculture comes out of California, and a lot of tech, and a lot of everything. I mean, it's anyway.
California could succeed.
Oh, California is one of the rare states that could, because
California could succeed from the United States, and they would probably be fine.
They're probably the only state that could do that, though.
Except for maybe like a military invasion.
Well,
but they could succeed as if they want to survive as like an economy and be a prosperous country, they could probably do it.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right, here we go. Coda Vets. I grew up in poverty. This is his mother. She goes by Coda Vets.
Yep.
I don't know what her name is. And I guess her name is Coda Vets.
Coda Vets.
I grew up in poverty. I grew up in the poverties in the mountains of North Carolina. I ate out of a garden, lived in a governing house, shopped at yard sales. I joined the Air Force, earned my GI Bill. I attained 4 degrees and created my own version of American dream. I'm not responsible for your student debt. It's like, there's so many levels of stupid. Like, who do you think paid for that?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
This is the part of the Marianne Williamson, remember, leading Democratic candidate of 2020. GI Bill is the point. That was the government funding your education, so the rest of us did pay for your education.
It's crazy. There's no person in America is truly self-made. Like not in a literal sense.
Elliot from Internet Today wrote, "Laugh my ass off. Who do you think paid for you to be able to do that?"
Yeah.
I just retweeted it and I said, irony is dead. These people are they're just oblivious. Like you said, they act like they live in a vacuum, and they act like they say self-made people. Half the time they usually come from wealth of some sort. Or not her. She lived in a garden or something like that. She said, ate apple blossoms or whatever.
Both her parents were actual gnomes. It was crazy.
Yeah.
David
the cartoon David the Gnome.
Yeah.
It's actually a documentary about her parents.
Tom Bosley.
It was really sad when they died in the end. Remember
that was pretty grim.
Played by Tom Bosley.
Yeah. Mr. C.
Hey.
Well,
I mean,
it is.
Like Ben Shapiro scolding people. Dude, this is a little rich kid who's given everything in life. These people, the best was Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah.
Dude, why don't you take a fucking seat?
Yeah.
You of all people, Lord Fauntleroy.
That's pretty remarkable. Especially for, I mean, his family's lived off of bankruptcy, not paying back loans, never having paid taxes. Yeah.
This guy is like, how dare you shit on my heels, try to take advantage of the government that me and my father have taken advantage of our whole lives.
The narrative here, though, is kind of interesting because this was a big campaign promise and Biden delivered on it. And he recently had some sneaky, this was kind of the next thing on our list. He slipped some things into the bill that he passed last week.
Sneaky Biden.
Yeah, that fixed up some loopholes that the Supreme Court had put into place.
Well, Supreme Court went in and did a shock and awe.
Yep.
Where they did the worst one, which was the abortion. We all saw that coming, but the ones that don't get talked about a lot was one of them to do with the EPA.
Right.
It's super fucked up. Like, we're gonna force you to have a baby in a world where air is thicker than.
God, you purchase air.
We're gonna bring back the LA smog from the 80s. Like, come on, what the fuck? So I guess in the infrastructure bill, the Democrats and you could say Biden, I guess, whatever, but they basically classified greenhouse gas as a fucking what? What's the term?
Not a pollutant. It a pollutant?
Yeah.
They basically made it so that the EPA can start enforcing things again. They basically fixed what the Supreme Court took apart, which was real clever, and it's real good. And it's real nice to see the Biden administration start racking up like tangible victories. Like the EPA thing, that's not going to change anyone's life overnight. It's going to significantly change their lives over many years, but no one's going to feel that. But they're getting a good mix of kind of long-term things like the EPA, real short-term things like student loan debt relief, and some of those medium things like tax subsidies to buy electric vehicles or tax breaks if you buy a new fridge.
Oh, that was the other funny thing was, okay, here's the jokes that the right would make, like, I started a business. I had every right to take loans or whatever. It's like, well, you chose to start a business.
Yeah.
Now, like, you could say, like, you chose to go to college, but the reality is that we've been told for decades now, and it's true when it came to most jobs, they require at least a bachelor's degree.
Right.
Like, you need at least 4 years. And then there's some jobs, like teaching, they require master degrees.
Oh.
And there's business degrees. Doctors need like 12 years of school. Like, there's so many, like, and they know this, but starting a business, you didn't have to do that.
Right.
That was your choice. Like,
there's
go ahead. What?
The country needs a supply of educated people too. We need nurses.
If you want if you want the country to become a fascist hellhole, then of course you want people to be stupid and ignorant. Like DeSantis, for example, his little coy bullshit about like I'm gonna get veterans to, I think if these people they should get jobs and they should be able to, we deserve, and I think the wives or husbands that don't know anything, they should get the jobs too. Yeah. And it's like, it's so sneaky because you're like, some dumb, like dim bulbs are going to be like, yeah, that's really good. He cares about the veterans. Like, no, he's destroying the teachers union. He made it impossible in the state for people to want to work as a teacher, to have a safe environment for a teacher. Tough. And now they need people. So what do? You put a bunch of people in there who you could probably give them a bullshit lesson plan that they're not going to question. It's a fascistic move, actually, what he's doing. I mean, I posted it. Someone said, like, this shit went on in the 30s in Germany and Italy, where they would put like former military people as teachers and fire the existing teachers. I mean, this was literally in Starship Troopers.
Yeah, and right.
I know Starship Troopers is not a documentary.
No, but it's a cautionary
based
tale.
on real existing fascistic models.
Yeah.
And so that was his bullshit. I don't know what we're talking about.
Well, we had kind of moved on into the greenhouse laws, getting stuck into Biden's recent legislation.
They need to be smarter about it. I think, like, it's been weird. Like, people have been like, where the hell is Joe Biden?
Yeah.
This past like year, it's like this is like you hear all these horrible stories of like Supreme Court's doing this, right wing's doing this. They're going to take away elections. DeSantis putting in all these crazy things. Abbott's putting in all these crazy things. What the fuck is Joe Biden? Well, it's like he's been magooing it the whole time.
Well,
now like the term magoo, like
yeah.
But like, I feel like now he's been energized by the dark Brandon meme.
I think this is probably, look, I mean, he is a smart guy himself, and he probably, I'm sure, is surrounded by smart people. He's not like Trump where he's going to have like Little John, giving him policy advice or anything. But he's.
I'm gonna have my son-in-law to handle the Middle East peace accord.
Well, Biden's got good people, and this is really good timing. Like I know we have a couple different topics here that don't seem like they go together, but you have these big legislative victories. You have these kind of like sweeping orders that he's giving. He gave like a fiery as hell speech tonight, where he basically comes out and calls Republicans semi-fascists. And then there's some things happening tomorrow. They released the Mueller memo from a year or two ago
So
that
wait,
kind of.
what was this speech he gave today? Was it like a campaign thing?
No, I don't think it was a campaign thing. I think he was doing some perfunctory speech, but within it, he talked about how it was in Maryland because he mentioned Larry Hogan, and he said, "Look, Larry Hogan's the kind of Republican you can work with. He's honest. I disagree with him on a lot of stuff, but like you know what you're getting, and he's not like a shitty person." But all these like MAGA Republicans, they're basically fascists. They're anti-democracy. They're anti-people. Um, and that was like a
So
real
I
powerful.
guess, yeah, and he's right.
Yeah, he's right.
100% right.
Well,
Biden.
Oh, good.
Here we go. Here's a clip. Here's some. I guess a heckler screamed out. A MAGA heckler screamed out, "You stole the election." And
Nice.
Biden responds to the heckler by saying, "Folks, ignorance knows no bounds." Okay, here we go. This is the
Republic Guard.
here.
Let anyone tear America apart. I'm close to this.
Doc Brandon's
Serious
here.
moment in our nation's history. MAGA Republicans don't just threaten our personal rights and economic security. They're a threat to our very democracy. They refuse to accept the will of the people. They embrace political violence. They don't believe in democracy. This is why, in this moment, those of you who love this country, Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans, we must be strong,
Mainstream
more
Republicans.
determined, and more committed to saving America than the MAGA Republicans are destroying America.
I mean, it's well, we can, if you want to listen to the whole thing.
We, the people, are the first words of our Constitution.
Okay. Now, in my beliefs, the MAGA Republican is the mainstream Republican.
Yeah,
I know it's like this little tactic. It's like, you get those skittish Republicans that don't want to vote for a Democrat, but Charlie Crist wins in Florida. It's like, that guy was a Republican too.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
they'll say voting for him.
Yeah, look, there's a decent number of Republicans that voted for Joe Biden last time. I know that,
It is true because they didn't vote down ballot. They voted
Right.
for Biden, and then they voted for. That's why it was funny when Republicans were like coming out. They're like, "Well, if you don't believe the vote's real, then
Right.
those Republicans that voted for Biden but voted for you, does that mean your vote should be questioned as well?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be in office either. Then, if that's the case."
Well, all of these things are kind of like working together in a really good way. I mean, you have the Mueller memo getting released. You have that affidavit coming out of the search warrant for Trump's property is coming out tomorrow. A redacted version, but they say it's going to contain some stuff that's probably not going to make Trump look great. You have a lot of these things moving in Biden's favor, and it doesn't just feel like luck. I think that's the good thing is it feels like there's a strategy. So often it doesn't feel like the Democrats know what they're doing. They're just sort of reacting. But this feels like an organized push forward, and I'm really relieved by it.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say. There's something I was gonna say, and I feel like we're Oh, okay. So, like a good example, like Biden's talking about that. I mean, he's 100% right. It's like you see, like Marjorie Taylor Greene attending like a Groypers thing, which is literally Nazis. It's like Nick Fuentes. They're proudly attending these things. You have like Republicans, Paul Gosar, all these people attending white nationalist groups.
Yeah.
You got Tucker Carlson on TV using Oh, this is a great thing. I heard this last week when I was banned from Twitter for a week, being a bad little boy. Just pointing out some historical information about what happens to people who, commit espionage in the United States. So you have like people, like, what do they say? The trans question. They would say that.
Yeah.
Which is literally Nazi shit. Back in the 30s, you know what they would say? The Jewish question.
Right. Yeah.
This isn't even, they're not even hiding it. You got Carrie Lake, who's running for Arizona governor. God, I hope this fucking psycho does lose this. She literally endorsed a straight up Nazi.
Yeah.
Like this dude like outright said shit about Jewish people, like in a bad way, not like
Right,
you know,
right.
they have good food, I like them, you know, they're good with like say something kind of anti-Semitic, like oh they're good with money, but no,
Right,
these
yeah,
are just
yeah.
straight up evil Nazi shit, and she proudly endorsed him. These are psycho people. You got so many bad candidates running. Dr. Oz is a shitty candidate.
Yep.
Herschel Walker is a shitty candidate. Blake Masters is a shitty candidate.
Tudor
And they
Dixon.
know
Yeah.
Dr. Oz, whoever's running his campaign, brilliant move. He went
Yeah.
out and attacked people about the loans. Great move.
Yeah.
I'm sure people in Pennsylvania aren't gonna in the Rust Belt in
Right.
Pennsylvania
They
are
none of them
gonna
tried to get
not want
retrained.
student loan. Yeah. Or my favorite was he started to go after Fetterman's health,
Yeah.
which I knew he would eventually. I was like, when's he
Sure.
gonna go after him? And he said, like, you wouldn't have a stroke if you ate a vegetable once, which is
Yeah.
like, okay, that's mean. You're a dick. But
Yeah.
how about like all your voters? I'm gonna look up something. I want to see what is the most popular place that Republicans eat at in this country. Most popular restaurant for Republican voters. Let's see. No. Come
What
on.
is
Hold on. I accidentally had
Salada?
a period. Yeah, Salada. I don't think so. I missed that place. We don't stop here. Red chains versus blue chains. I imagine Cracker Barrel's really high up on the list. I'm not being like, I'm not trying to stereotype. I just have a feeling that Cracker Barrel's probably pretty high up on the list.
I saw this guy on Twitter the other day. He said that most Christians believe that Jesus was white because the first time they met him, he was a literal cracker. Like a
Red
communion,
chains.
like a communion
What?
wafer.
Yeah,
Like
I got you.
That was
I
the
guess
best
that's
one.
it.
That was the funniest thing I saw on Twitter all week, aside from the person Ivanka Trump said something and someone responded to her, "Go water your mom."
Go water your mom. Jesus Christ.
Right out of the gate. Like,
Didn't they say that there were like so many pallbearers holding her up? They think that like they buried
yeah,
secrets
like
in her grave. Which
who knows? Yeah.
Okay, here we go. These are the top chains for Republicans.
Yeah, okay.
Applebee's, 96%,
Wow.
93%. Outback Steakhouse, 93%. Chick-fil-A, 91%. Wendy's, White Castle, Yum Brands.
Okay. That's
Dairy
Pizza
Queen,
Hut.
you think they would be higher up, but it's not. It's 72 to 28. Panera Bread, you think that would be more the other way.
Yeah.
McDonald's, a little more to the red, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think Applebee's might have like salad there. But
Yeah.
come on.
Come on.
Dr. Oz, man, you really you know what, here's the problem with this is what Dr. Oz is. Dr. Oz wants to run as Republican, but he is the stereotype of what the Republicans sold, like what they said John Kerry was.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Dr. Oz lives like the 2004 stereotype of a Democrat that the Republicans tried to sell. And now this guy, I mean, I'm sorry, he's a Hollywood liberal, say liberal, like not socially or whatever you want to call it, trying to run as a right winger. Yeah. John Fetterman is a more believable working class looking person. And I would imagine that there's been people who had strokes that were Republicans that probably would be insulted by that comment.
I don't think the medical thing's going to hurt Fetterman that much. You know, I mean, like,
I'm not worried about that. It's just funny that, like, you know, he said Dr. Oz trying to take back the crudité thing. He's like, you should eat salad. You wouldn't have a stroke. And like I said, this was not just some offhand thing. This was like a direct attack. It was a tweet. And it was like, dude, you're probably like insulting your voters.
Yeah.
Or the voters you think you're
doing. I don't want to paint, like, Pennsylvania's a big state and it's pretty diverse. Like, you've got Pennsylvania, Philly and Pittsburgh, and then you got a lot of the, you know, the Pennsyltucky or whatever in the middle.
Well, you need the Democrats basically need everyone in Philly and
Pittsburgh
come out and vote for them.
Yeah.
And
But
the Republicans need all the yibbles,
right.
yahoos, and the wackadoos that live in the middle of the state to come out and vote for them.
Better hope that like election day doesn't coincide with raccoon season for the hunting permits, you know.
Raccoon hunting season.
So
I was gonna vote, but it's not hunting season.
So I don't know. I mean, I think even Republicans look. Republicans are going to vote for Dr. Oz. Don't get me wrong, but I think like if you cornered them in a bar after one or two Rolling Rocks, the
Rolling
Republic
Rocks, shitty ass beer.
After a couple Rolling
Rolling Rocks into it,
and after a nice pork roll sandwich or a Philly cheesesteak or whatever, even Republicans would be like, yeah, I'd rather chill with Fetterman than Dr. Oz seems like a dick. You know, I mean, like, I think that they'll still vote for Dr. Oz.
Guy with 10 to 12 houses telling people to.
Right.
But, like, it's talking about how shitty the candidates are. Blake Masters is already trying to backpedal on his
abortion thing.
Basically, it's on this site and they scrubbed it. He basically, and it's great after the abortion thing, like after May, when it leaked that they were going to get rid of abortion.
Yeah.
All the Republicans that for years would always claim, like, oh, well, you know, if the mother's in threat or anything like that, and we'll consider abortion. But no, man, they went in full and they were like, no, none. We don't care if it's epitopic. We don't give a shit. You got the 10-year-old rape victim has to carry a baby. A woman has to. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
A woman who has to carry a headless corpse in her body.
In Louisiana, that's happening today.
Yeah, that's happening right now. And Blake Masters is trying to backpedal and claim, no, I never said that, because he probably saw the poll data, and you know what? All that guy is just Rick Scott with hair.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy sucks, man. Like, he's just what they call it, Peter Thiel. And then you have like all these other wackadoos, like that lady that beat Liz Cheney. We talked about her last week. My God, what a fucking! She looks like a reject from Pee Wee's Playhouse. Like, Lidsville,
Witchy Poo.
That's what she's. Lidsville. What?
She's Witchy Poo from Lidsville.
She's one of the relatives of Sigmund and the Sea Monster.
She does look like a Sid and Marty Krofft character, you know, like
like not a puppet, but like the one of the witches.
Like there's always like C. Nelson Riley appears with like a prosthetic nose or something,
a big long nose.
Yeah, he looks like
Nelson Riley.
A 1970s Humpty Hump or something, and he's like,
yeah. Did you see? I forgot to bring this up last week. I guess Elon Musk attended the after party, the victory party for her, because all the Republicans had a big party. It's just so funny. That's for this fucking weird lady, and he attended, and he told people like, do not, like, he didn't want anyone to know he was there. Yeah, and they just took pictures with him. That leaked online, and he could. It was really funny.
Well, this is kind of an interest. This actually segues into our next thing. I noticed today, it was around like noon, and I had read in the paper this morning that today's the day Texas enacted its near total abortion ban. You can't really get an abortion in Texas anymore, and they have the fetal heartbeat bill, and that sets up weird things where, like, if the fetus has a heartbeat, then you cannot abort it. And that's what's going on in Louisiana. Is this woman has a child, a fetus that's being born without a skull. There's no skull to it. And
they're basically forcing this woman to carry this
it's terminal, but it has a heartbeat.
Yeah, it will not live though. Carry this to full term, probably force her to bury it.
And this woman doesn't want an abortion. Like, she didn't set out to get an abortion. I mean, she sees, like,
you need to, like, unfortunately, you know, it's like you give this woman an abortion, right? So that she takes a break and they try again. What kind of psychological damage do you think it would do to this
Well,
this couple that has to carry this literally dead body to
yeah.
term? Are they going to want to have, like, because if it was spotted early, then it's like it sucks, and they'll probably, they'll be very upset, but they could do it again. They didn't
Well,
lose like a year of their life.
It's remarkable the about face they've had on, and you and I said before that they're kind of like the dog that caught the car it was chasing. Now they don't know what to do with it.
They have no idea.
They're running. So around noon today, I noticed like Greg Abbott, he hasn't said anything about the abortion.
Yeah, it's crazy. Today. None of them are like proud of it. I think, like I said, Ted Cruz said some. I'm trying to see. Ted Cruz did. He attacked Beto or something about partial birth abortion or some bullshit. But like
Ted Cruz is his own thing. But like Greg Abbott, he's not. He didn't say anything about it. Ken Paxton,
Greg Abbott's running for governor. Yeah, and he's running against someone who is pro-choice.
These are all people that like, this is what they did. This is their thing. That Blake Masters is running away from it. Tudor Dixon said that that the best thing for a rape victim to do to heal would be to have their rapists carry their rapist fetus. That's how you heal.
That's insane. It's like saying like someone who was shot, keep the bullet in there for 2 years.
Now, I like this has like always been kind of a weird subject for me because I have like real complicated feelings about it anyway. But one thing that's not at all complicated is how it's none of my business
exactly
what it's another person
fucking choice. And these people, they never fucking get it. I remember when it happened, there was some stupid lady and she was talking about like her baby like was born severely like premature, and they're showing the picture. And it's like, bravo, that's great for you. That was your fucking choice.
Well, and no one
said you can't carry that baby. No one said that. That's the thing. They act like the idea of abortion encroaches on them wanting to have a kid, and it's not at all the case.
It's a very bizarre. I guess that's maybe not the point, but that's the thing. It's a very odd topic to talk about.
It's a very American topic. It doesn't seem to be, from what I've saw, and I think you've seen this too. This doesn't go on in other countries like it does here.
Doesn't.
This is a uniquely American topic that the corporate right wing, have been able to manipulate so they can get very religious people to always vote for them as they put in really shitty, unpopular policies.
Because that's the odd part.
What?
That's the odd part, is that they saddle these policies with other policies that make it difficult to have kids. Like you would think, like, look, if let's say I want to reduce the number of abortions in the United States, I would say, here's how you do it: free prenatal care, free like meal supplements for people who are pregnant, free daycare, free like a check for the first a check for the kid, like they did during COVID.
What about this? Safe sex education. Best way to make sure there's no abortions is to make sure people are getting knocked up.
Sex ed and free contraceptions.
How about this too? Legalize sex work.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Okay, there's another one.
Less sex crazed less sex starved crazed maniacs. I'm not saying that would solve the problem.
No, but these are all these are all ideas. Some good, some maybe okay, some maybe not good. But these are all ideas. Well, these are all ideas that would reduce the number of abortions. They all would, and put them all together, and you'd probably reduce the number of abortions significantly. Frankly,
and the joke is that you still have abortions being legal, but the numbers go down. I think they said like the numbers of abortions went down under Obama, but it was like because it was those methods we're talking about that were being like where they started teaching like they stopped. I guess they made it that you couldn't teach abstinent only bullshit anymore because abstinent only education does not prevent teen pregnancy at all.
And a lot of times now, like honestly, if you want to find out about sex, it's 2022. You can go online. You know, a lot of kids have
Watching
access to
old
more
episode of South Park.
a lot of kids have access to more information. So anyway, the Republicans now almost uniformly are fleeing from their position on this. And
they're going to start to backpedal. I don't know if they'll flee 100%, but it depends on what state. I think Greg Abbott will definitely be quiet. I'm sure he'll say something. This is what I'm sure
he'll stick to his guns eventually.
Bullshit. What?
He'll stick to his guns eventually, you know.
Right, but I mean, at the debate, he'll say some bullshit like they'll get like a cheap applause, like "I will never not be pro-life" or something. I think everyone has a right to be born, and it's such a like sneaky, devious statement because it's like, how do you argue with that?
Yeah,
like you're basically saying that your opponent wants to kill people,
kill babies.
They're anti-life, they want to murder people, and you're the one that's pro-life. Like that's why I said like we lost the argument the day we allowed these people to say they were pro-life. Because it's so ridiculous.
It's an odd thing because it's real easy to get tripped up in the terminology because once you start referring to, like, whether you refer to something as a fetus or a baby or a child or whatever, a lot of times like people will just treat them synonymously, but they don't really unpack the baggage that comes with those words, you know. And it's a tricky thing. I do think, though,
the argument you can make against these pro-life assholes, though, the pro-life. Here I am falling for that trap.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. The
forced birth assholes will make the argument and say like, "Oh, you aborted like the next Gandhi. You aborted the person who would solve cancer." Well, guess what? What about all those kids that were shot in schools?
Yeah.
You don't know. They could have been the next like best thing to happen. They could have invented like a chip that would save the world, or they would have invented. We don't know. They're dead. They were killed by guns. I mean, it's just stupid. Like their bullshit argument. How come it doesn't carry over to like gun regulation? Then that's why like they're disingenuous. The whole pro-life bullshit, because they're not. They never were.
No.
They were. They didn't want their kids wearing. They didn't want kids wearing masks. They didn't want them to get vaccinated. They don't give a shit if kids get shot up in school. You see those like as school is starting, you see those depressing like bulletproof backpacks.
Yeah.
And, like, the mom showing the kid what to do.
Did you see
the
that?
Kid in the corner, put the backpack in front. I'm like, oh my.
You see that thing on The Onion where they said that that kids in Keller, Texas, teachers started making them use clear backpacks to make sure they weren't sneaking books into school.
That's funny. Not guns, but
right.
books.
Yeah, they want to make sure they're not bringing books into school.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
If they are, it's for the burning.
Right. I don't know where all this is going really, but I do know this. I think this is a winning issue for Democrats, and I think the winning issue is it's that most Americans, probably like 75%, don't want the government doing this. They don't want it. It's
very weird because the Republicans have always been the thing, like, we want government out of your pocketbook, we want government out of your lives. But if the government is enforcing laws that prevent reproduction rights, how is that not encroaching on your rights? How's that? That's also your privacy too.
It's
because
the narrative has always been that, oh, well, only X number of people are raped each year. Only so many pregnancies result in that each year. And honestly,
I guarantee you there would be more rapes caused by this.
I know, but it's like those are decent arguments to make until, look, this Supreme Court decision just happened like a month ago, and there's already like half a dozen horror stories.
I'm sure there's more we haven't even heard of.
Right. And there's going to continue to be these stories day after day until the election. And people nobody wants to see a 10-year-old chased by state marshals over state lines. No, that's disgusting.
I just love like Kristi Noem, who said like she was fine with the 10-year-old being raped and having, like, man, when they try to run for higher office outside of their Yahoo state that they could get away with it, fuck, man, that shit's gonna like hit them right in the face.
Yeah, and that's
punch him right in the face. Because here's the thing, too. People won't admit it. Trump was able to run and beat all the Republicans in the primary because he was not viewed as a Republican by the public.
Right.
And they knew that even though he claimed he was pro-life now, that the guy like donated to like freaking what do you call it for years?
Planned Parenthood, yeah.
Planned Parenthood, and like was pro-choice. I'm sure he paid for many abortions.
Yeah.
Like, but that's how people were like knew that like that's why they were able to fall for that trap.
Wow.
These people are not going to fall. Like they got to try to run Ron DeSantis as
Well,
the next Trump.
That's our next topic
that.
is the Ron DeSantis versus Donald Trump showdown. That's a
So,
brewing. A brewing, I said.
Last week I told you about like how there was like an interview or something with Donald Trump Jr.
Yeah.
And you could already see the seeds of like, well, Ron DeSantis, my father is independently wealthy. We're not tied to anyone, except Putin, but everyone else. But Ron DeSantis, he doesn't have money. He's got more. He's got his hands out, man. He's gonna be tied to people with special interests. Not my dad, because he's rich. He could do whatever he wants. He has superpowers, and they're already like putting that in there. And you're gonna see like as the right tries to keep pushing DeSantis or Fox News or whatever.
Yeah.
First of all, DeSantis, that fucking weird ass picture of him online, where it's like he's in either like. He has
like a puppet.
Never had arms before. He's in a suit that does not fit him right. He looks so fucking weird. And I was like I found it finally, the Kyle Rittenhouse photo that I saw.
Yeah.
It's with him with what's that woman's name? She's on the Daily Wire. I forgot her name.
I don't know her name.
She's the Kanye pushed her. She was she's like the black Republican that says like Democrats and KKK members.
Candace Owens.
Yeah. It was a photo with. And
I've seen that. Yeah.
He looks so bizarre. I mean, he is bizarre looking. He looks like a mutant. And I was like, man, he does. He looks like he could be Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
This is like bastard son or something. And that's like I did a thing with the three of them. That weird photo of Trump where he's standing from the cameras and he just looks like a half centaur.
Well, he
worst
looks like
Pokemon evolution.
I've heard Trump stands like that because he wears lifts.
I heard it's a combination of that and steroids.
It could be.
I don't know. That's such an odd. I can't believe that's from wearing lifts. That looks so weird. Like his whole posture is like fucked up. It's like the weird. I don't know if that photo was altered. The one go ahead.
It could have been. I don't know.
Did you see that weenie footage of Ron DeSantis say he's gonna throw Anthony Fauci in the river or something?
Right.
It's like he called him an elf.
Ron DeSantis is like the least intimidating person ever.
Ron DeSantis is only 5'9". I'm like, I think I'm 5'8.5", whatever. But I'm not gonna like.
Right.
He's trying to act like he's this big guy, and he's gonna pick up Anthony Fauci and throw the 81-year-old man into a river. First of all, I find it fascinating how the right has like demonized this guy.
It is bizarre.
They make it sound like Anthony Fauci made every decision when it came to COVID. Every decision was made by him, even though
Trump was president.
Donald Trump basically pushed him to the side, didn't let him go on TV, basically decided everything that they like pretty much ignored him after the first month. It's weird. It's crazy how much power.
Yeah.
The right would make you think that like Anthony Fauci was the most powerful person, like Boebert and Green. Like when we take over Congress, we're gonna investigate. We're gonna have hearings about Fauci, and it's like, what the fuck did this guy do? Like, all he could do was make recommendations, and like Trump literally ignored him.
Yeah, I think I hope the Republicans don't take the House, but if they do, I hope they do shit like this. I hope they call rational people to stand before them, and they're just going to look like morons. They're going to look.
I think I don't want them to win because I think.
Obviously,
still
I don't.
Bad for the government. We need a functioning government. And people are fucking clowns. They're just clowns, dude. Like all of them. Like, and they're just getting worse. Like I said, that's what I was talking about the candidates before. But like, so the Ron DeSantis thing, I know there's some other stuff brewing with Trump.
Yeah.
He said he was being interviewed, DeSantis, and he said something about like they asked him if he's talked to him recently, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to say anything." Something like the DSA or something
Right.
will come after me, or I don't know. This is really weird. It was like, "What are you implying here? Like Trump's a criminal or something?"
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is, but I mean, first of all, I don't want Trump to run, but like I said,
No.
I would love to see though Trump just trounce DeSantis in a.
Yes.
He would just be like, "You're fake. I'm Donald. I'm Don. You're Ron. You're you're the knockoff. You're
Trump.
the cheap knockoff."
That's the weird thing about the Republican Party is that Trump won't let anyone else take the spotlight.
Well, they can't. They don't have anyone.
Yeah.
No one likes any of them. I don't think anyone like on a national level. Again, Trump was in Home Alone 2. He had a successful reality show. He was fucking selling Pizza Hut.
I mean,
He
like
made that dumb book. Ron DeSantis is just some nobody in Florida. They're trying to like juice this guy out to be like he's this huge threat, and he's just a fascistic douchebag in Florida.
I could see, like, honestly, of them, Kristi Noem probably's got a better shot than most. I don't know. I think Trump will destroy DeSantis eventually. I don't think there's enough oxygen in the state for both
honestly,
of them.
if I was Trump, let's say if I was Trump and I can't run because I'm convicted now.
Yeah.
Like Trump gets convicted and he can't run for president, even though the joke is he thinks that like if he's running for president, he can't be convicted. He could totally be convicted.
Yeah.
There's no like, but especially before primary, a year before primary.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. But I would, if he, let's say he can't run, I would think he would still come out against DeSantis and say, like, he stole my act. He's like, I made him who he is. Play that stupid commercial of his about building a wall with his son. That's all Trump's rhetoric and him just repeating it. It's all like he could just say, it'd be funny if he did that. It was like all out of spite, too.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason he does anything is out of spite.
Right. So it'd be funny to see him just like decimate, like I'm trying to think, there was like something funny. I totally forgot. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, I think that's coming. I think if you want to talk, I guess this is coming up on the last item, which is kind of a multi-part item. If you want to talk about something, this is what we began with. This isn't funny per se. These are all serious things, but they're odd. Marjorie Taylor Greene has claimed she's been swatted the last 2 nights in a row, and I don't believe it. I don't believe she's not using the words correctly, because like swatting is when you don't know what's going on and the SWAT team is at your house breaking windows and shit. That's swatting. That's like a big, dangerous, serious thing. Bad. What happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene is that the police politely knocked on her door, asked if everything was okay. She said yes, and then they left. Those are 2 giant.
Wait, I'm sorry. What? Somebody knocked on her door.
Well, swatting is when someone says there's a hostage situation.
Yeah, literally the SWAT team shows up and like they might kill the person too.
They do. They have before. And this is the police got a call saying that like there had been shots fired, someone's dead in the bathtub, blah, blah. And so the police go up to her door, ring the bell. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes to the door, and they explained to Marjorie Taylor Greene what happened. And she said, no, everything's fine here. And they said, thank you. And then they went home. That's it. That's not swatting. Maybe that's filing a police report or filing a false police report. Or whatever.
And of course, this is like an anti-trans attack, too.
Right?
She's claiming trans person.
So none of it makes sense. I don't believe any of it. And even if it is legitimately true, the way she's saying it, she's describing it very differently. It's like if you get an offender bender and you say that you were in a fiery car crash. It's greatly exaggerated.
But then it happens again the second night in a row.
Right. And you're telling me that
anything this lady does is full of shit. She's a lying scumbag.
She's just a liar.
Yeah.
Well,
this is a terrible person. Again, it's like this is the victim of we're the victims of gerrymandering. That's all it is. Because it's like this person in a normal democracy This person would never make it into office.
Well, you would have one. Like historically, there's always been one knucklehead. Like it used to be Gomert, or before that, maybe it was like Steve King,
Yeah.
like the crazy racist or whatever. And there would always be one, But man, the Republican Party.
Well, that's the other
has,
thing too. Okay, so like going back to like DeSantis or any of these clowns, or even like Beto or something like that.
Yeah.
When they run against Beto runs against Abbott, right? And Beto can, ride on the success of whatever the Democrats do will get done. And it's like, okay, well, we're putting in like the biggest environmental plan ever done in this country. We're forgiving student loans. We're improving healthcare. We're allowing prescription drugs, Medicaid to basically
negotiate prices
on drugs, which is going to bring the prices down on everything. And what are you doing? We made sure a trans kid couldn't play high school sport.
Right.
Yeah. We took books out of the library, removed them. We made a woman almost pretty much die from carrying a thing that clogged her fallopian tube. Like, wow, those are great accomplishments. What else?
Pretty grim.
Made it easier for people to get guns.
We tried to prevent people from getting their student loans forgiven. We tried to.
Yeah, we made public schools unsafe during a pandemic.
I think that is their.
We have a whole list of accomplishments.
Yeah, sadly, I think that was their winning issue. I think that's why they made all the ground they did recently. Is the
inconvenience of the pandemic.
They what?
The inconvenience of the the minor inconveniences.
I legitimately think that. I think that they.
Oh, I think you're 100% right. That guy in Virginia would not be governor right now.
No,
if it wasn't for the mild inconvenience of a kid having to wear a mask in school.
I think that they ran that into the ground and won because of it. And honestly, now nobody cares about that anymore.
They can't run on it because it's not an issue. They still. Oh, and the other thing was like, okay, inflation. I guess that's slowly coming down a bit. I guess I don't know, but gas prices have gone down immensely.
Yeah.
I paid less than I did when I moved here.
Yeah.
And gas prices were lower, like we're in the $3s or something. And now I'm paying even less. So like, obviously that's not an issue right now. Or I mean, it's just so fucking dumb. I mean, Marjorie Taylor, go ahead. What?
Oh, I was gonna say the next thing was I was gonna do the Boebert MAGA roommate thing, but do you have something else about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
No, I was gonna. Well, I have something to. Well, we had this conversation.
Yes.
Who do you think is? And I don't mean this in like a sexual thing. Even though it seems like you took it there. I said, who is more like attractive and sexy and hot? I don't mean it in a sexual way.
Yeah.
I mean, who is a more a better person, Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert?
Oh, well, okay. I think it depends on what kind of person you are. Who would I rather have as a neighbor?
Sure, conversation.
Okay. I'd rather have Marjorie Taylor Greene as a neighbor because I'll bet you her house is pretty well taken care of and her grass is cut. I think if you live next to Lauren Boebert, you got her fucking
kids
asshole.
Are on ATVs at midnight.
Yep. And the dogs are running loose.
Shotgun.
And the father.
Dad is in the driveway with the garage door open, blasting a TV that everyone in the neighborhood could hear.
Yep. Yeah. Or he's like really rocking out to like mid 70s Styx or something.
Or Kid Rock.
Yes. And
Kid Rock.
He always conveniently forgets to zip up his fly, when the neighborhood girls are around. So I would infinitely rather have Marjorie Taylor Greene as a neighbor.
You don't have a choice. It's only those two. But I would not have either.
Right. If I'm at a cocktail party and I got to get stuck at a table with someone, I'm going Boebert because I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is a true believer and we'll talk about politics nonstop.
But I think I would find Marjorie Taylor Greene very entertaining.
I think though that I think you could probably talk to Lauren Boebert about, I don't know, like
spoiled meat.
maybe I'm changing my mind here.
I don't know. I find Marjorie Taylor Greene would be very. You could get some real interesting shit out of it.
I'd rather
I
hang
think
out with
Lauren
Lauren
Boebert
Boebert.
is like a dunce. There's nothing there. I mean, it depends. If you like, you could have like where you just ignore her the whole time, probably. Where you could just ignore her because she's like it's a good.
Yeah, I think
She'd
Lauren.
be there with the drool cup and like. Well, like Marjorie Taylor Greene would start talking about like Jewish lasers, and I would be like,
Right.
"Tell me more. Tell me more.
See, I think that would
Tell
drive
me
me
more about the
crazy.
Jewish lasers. What did the Jewish lasers do to you?"
I think I could, if I ever got like if I was stuck at a table with Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'd get real worked up and like a little sick
And
to
I
my
would keep
stomach.
telling her that my last name's Israel,
Right.
and she would just ignore it the entire time. Marjorie Taylor Greene would still keep going, and I would keep reminding her that, like, I would say, "Yeah, like when I was bar mitzvah," I'd keep reminding her,
Right.
and she would still keep
take
going,
imaginary
but I would
phone
find it
calls.
entertaining.
Yes, Mr. Soros. Of course, we'll get right on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I would do that. No, is this the top lieutenant from Zog, the Zionist organization, whatever the hell?
Yeah.
I forgot what it stands for.
But I think
I'm
if you're
getting my
stuck,
marching orders.
if you're stuck with like Lauren Boebert and you have access to a laser pointer, you could probably get through.
If you want her to leave the table, you just have to move the light against the wall.
Exactly.
She's gonna run to it and start
Right.
it.
You just like flick it on a curtain or so, and she'll be like, "I'll be right back," and she just like hurriedly wander away from the table. And I think that you could get a reprieve that way. So,
yeah.
But Boebert said that she was she kind
I
of
can
said
pull
like,
it up. I have it.
yeah,
I have the tweet that she said.
it was a good one.
And that was another one of those tweets where I couldn't respond to initially.
Yeah.
When I was in the Twitter ban
Twitter
zone,
jail.
Twitter jail.
Twitter gulag.
All right, here we go. Lauren Boebert, this is from 3 days ago. A new poll shows that 62% of college Democrats would never share a dorm room with Trump supporters. I bet these are the same kids who like to talk about tolerance and tell people that they're all good vibes. Oh, they're all about good vibes. Now, this is like, this talking point was used by the alt-right in like 2015, 2016, where they would say like, "Oh, there goes the so-called tolerant left. Like we're supposed to tolerate these horrible ideas. Like
that's the thing. Like,
and by being against them, that makes us intolerant."
Yeah, I mean, like and don't get me wrong, like liberals can be intolerant too. Like, there was a time when I used to kind of like look down on people that enjoyed like country music, and now I'm like, that was stupid. And there's plenty of decent country music out there, and it's just not my thing.
Like, you know, if you're spreading like Nazi conspiracies, I don't tolerate.
There's a difference.
I'm not going to tolerate like someone who says they're okay with like a 10-year-old girl who's raped have to carry a baby.
It's so easy to figure out
for no good reason whatsoever.
If
he's a flying space god or some bullshit.
Yeah, if I look down on you for eating like easy cheese on saltines, that's kind of bullshit of me. But like, if I were to look down on you for saying that, like, you know, gay people should be rounded up, that's good of me. You know what I mean? I should be morally outraged.
How dare you be intolerant or like that bullshit? Like, as a right winger, I should be allowed to dead name trans people. That's my right because I'm a right winger. That's my persuasion. It's like, what?
No, that's not. That's like, it's and it's so crystal clear in my head, like the difference. And maybe it's not.
They know that too, but that's the game that's played.
Yeah.
It makes it impossible to have a conversation that they claim they want to have.
Yeah.
Because you would have to like basically shut your brain off. So I wrote, why would anyone want a dorm with someone who is most likely racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, prone to violence, and would sell your belongings to the pawn shop to get their meth?
Yeah.
Also, how did the Trump supporter get in the dorm room since being literate is a college requirement?
Yeah, I think that's what I did. Like, come on, like there's Trump supporters. Like,
yeah, like come on now.
How often does this happen? How many times does
I'm sure there's tons of them. But the point is that I mean, Liberty University exists.
Right. But it's just, I don't know. It was kind of an odd one. Anyway, the last thing on our list was this weirdest hell story. I read about it again today, and I had read the original story like a month ago or whenever it happened. So anyway, today I watched a
If you hear
video.
snoring in the background, that's
Your
not
cat.
me. That's my dogs on the floor.
I saw this video today of a woman apologizing for so fucked up. She was saying, she's this wealthy old white lady, and she's saying, look, I'm not racist. However, I want to put out
However,
there
here we go.
that I
Ding,
have
ding, ding, ding,
a
ding.
Twitter parody account that's devoted entirely to making racist jokes. And then she's like, and I'm not racist. And then like the reporters are like, how could we possibly believe what you're saying when and then her lawyer gets up there. And anyway, so all of this was stemmed from a party she threw back on Juneteenth, in which she threw a party on Juneteenth that was filled with stereotypical racist
Were people
imagery.
like there in blackface?
I don't know. I know that she served like Kentucky Fried Chicken, and there was like a lot of like ironically played music and like foods that were traditionally associated with like Southern Black culture and stuff. And they made a joke of Juneteenth via like all these racist tropes. And the fire department chief of that town took one of his firefighters to the party, and the
This
firefighter
is in
happened
Rochester.
Yeah.
Rochester Fire Department.
And the firefighter was black and was obviously greatly offended. And
yeah, the fireman that was forced to go. He was pretty much forced to go. Was a black guy who works there, and he said we shouldn't be here. This is bullshit.
yeah,
And it was like this incredibly racist party. I guess the captain retired days after, so the lawsuits
yeah.
wouldn't affect him or whatever. But I'm trying to find more articles on this.
Well,
Do you know the name or
no, but I saw it. I saw the thing. And it was the weirdest thing, because I don't know why this was being tweeted about. It was a reporter from Denver, and he was saying like, wow, this is crazy. There's a lot of
they were handing out racist party bags.
yeah, it's just so crazy. But the guy was saying like all these Colorado politicians are suddenly silent now that this video's out, and I could never figure out what the angle was. Like, what does this have this seemed to have nothing to do with Colorado, but apparently there's some link between probably a Republican politician out there. I don't know.
Probably wouldn't shock me.
Well, in Western Colorado,
the lawn was decorated with KFC buckets.
oh Jesus!
Rich mom accused of, it's in the New York Post. Rich mom accused of throwing bigoted party by New York fireman denies being racist and admits blatantly racist tweets.
Yeah.
The wealthy upstate woman accused of throwing a racist Juneteenth party attempted to defend herself at a bizarre press conference today, insisting the event was meant to mock liberals, not black people. Yeah, I've heard throughout my life, I've heard like racist people say shit on Martin Luther King Day, say like real racist crap about like fried chicken and all that.
Yeah.
You know what? They weren't mocking liberals. They were just fucking racist.
Right.
Like Mary Nicosia, who is white, set off a firestorm in Rochester, New York, after reportedly decorating her lawn with buckets of KFC for a Juneteenth party where she served Hennessy.
Yeah.
Black firefighter Gerard Jones finds a notice to sue the city and its fire department early this month because his boss, Catherine Jeffrey Curry, what a weird spell, Krywy, Krywy. That's not a name. That's like somebody losing at Scrabble.
Right. Like to buy an owl.
Took him to Nicosia's party where he was on duty. Cree faced termination proceedings over the incident, but retired before he can investigate it. He retired.
You'll never catch me.
Poofed away in racist dust storm. I'd like to apologize to the African community and for other people in the community I've heard or offended, Mary said. Yeah, sure. I'm here to defend myself from false claims of racism. She then stunned the room with her subsequent comment. But before I do that, this is great. This is where the story goes really funny for all the wrong reasons,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
Before I do that, in full disclosure, I do have a Twitter parody account that operates under the veil of persona, and I have made blatantly racist comments under that persona, she confessed. The name of the you want to know the name of the account?
What was it?
Mary Nicosia. That's the name. That's her name.
Oh Jesus.
That's why I was making a joke. That's the name of her parody account's called Mary.
Yeah,
Her account's called If I Was Racist.
Yeah, right.
Which I'm not, but that's the literary account name. If I Was Racist, but which I'm not, but
well,
here's some classics from Mary. So her account was Colonel Nathaniel Sanders.
Oh, Jesus.
Ho ho homeboy ROC. Maybe they should post the job as zookeeper. Oh my god. Here's a really racist drawing of a black person. It says, I'm not even gonna say that, sorry.
Yeah,
some real straight up Colonel Nathaniel Sanders is her. This is like the remember what was her name? Razzle Khan?
Yeah, Razzle Khan.
The crypto
rapper.
The crypto rapper who's like probably gonna spend in jail for life, maybe for her and her boyfriend or husband or whatever. It's like that almost. Like it's like another identity. It's like, no, you see, I'm an actual rapper where I have a Twitter account where I'm incredibly racist. And here's the thing. The Twitter account sometimes takes over me.
Right.
And throws a party where they feel racist. I mean, get the fuck. Who are you trying to fool here?
I think it is kind of interesting. You and I were talking about this before we started recording, and I think that you said you felt like kind of maybe the tide was turning or something, and I think it's true. I think a lot of I think Trump emboldened a lot of these people to be as horrible as they always were.
I mean,
but
they
more
were
so in
there.
public.
Trump didn't make these people up; they existed.
No, but he emboldened them to like come out and be who they are. You know, they were a little more open about it, a little more public about it.
They'll say things that like kind of make it whimsical by using words like woke, and so it doesn't sound as serious. But it's like, no, you're just saying you're a racist bigot. Like,
but these people, some of these people, eventually get seen by people outside of their friend group, and it's ugly. It's just like, look, this woman's ugly. I mean, this is like a horribly ugly
the
thing
husband's
she's
like
done.
trying to distance himself. He's like, he called her like her stupid friends or something. But like, yeah, you're married to her. I'm sorry. I'm so sick of that. Like, whole unless he like divorces her tomorrow and like donates all his fucking money. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
To like.
It's just this is ugly, you know. And she honestly, like,
this is New York.
Yeah.
This is New York.
This right.
You know, everyone, like I said, I grew up in different parts. Let me tell you, I never met more racist people than I did growing up in Long Island.
Yeah.
I saw people walking around with not swastikas. I saw people like Long Island is not New York City at all. It's like it's like a reaction to New York City because it's like it's a white. It exists literally for white flight, what they call it. But the best is the mom of two said the racist tweets were all part of the culture of Twitter, even claiming it was part of its charm. It's unclear what she tweeted and what account she was referencing. Twitter users accused her of posting under the handle Ho Ho Homeboy ROC, but Nicosia would not say at the press conference if the account was hers. Man, okay, is there any more? I don't know.
Well,
I hope that guy just like fucking rips it through the coal mines.
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
I don't know what, like, it's just disgusting, but this shit exists, man.
Yeah.
It exists everywhere.
It does.
You know, like I said, United States has never had never needed to any help to provide racism.
No, it's always been there.
If anything, it's a little known fact that the Nazis in Germany were inspired by like
God.
the racists in the United States.
Well, it is called, I mean, like they always call slavery like America's original sin, and that's real true. I mean, that is the stain that just won't come out.
But they fucked up during the Reconstruction period, and they allowed these people to claim that their property was taken away from them, keeping their racist attitude and forever using it a century later by putting up those fucking statues everywhere and saying that like you know what I mean, they didn't get reformed. They were able to still have that horrible like racist beliefs and shit. Like, I mean, not to say like how do you change it, but I don't know, there's ways of doing it. You know, it takes many years and maybe generations.
No, that's true.
But they actively go out of their way to make sure that future generations don't learn by attacking trans kids, by saying we don't want, by removing books from libraries, by saying bullshit like we don't like woke things or CRT. Like these are all attempts to continue a racist is the word hegemony? I don't know if that's
I think that'd fit.
It's to push white misbelief of white supremacy, of what they think white supremacy is.
Well,
and like all that shit that they do in those schools when they're trying to remove books and like the nonsense about CRT. What?
That's all part of it.
It's all part of it. It just continues the bigotry. That's all it's meant to, because you know, when they attack colleges and they try like the tyranny of the woke left in colleges. Oh, you mean like your kids learning new things and meeting new people, and you're afraid that they might distance themselves from their racist parents or relatives. Like that's the thing. Knowledge is, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just a continuing disease, and they've made every effort over the past decade to really, you know, they see the culture changing. And, you know, it's like Ben Shapiro when he's like, we gotta make the Daily Wire be like, you know, they're producing content. And no, but that's the goal. It's like,
that's true.
They get, you know, like I said, I was talking about thing with they're freaking out over She-Hulk. It's like the character's been like that since the fucking early 80s. Like, that was 40 years ago. This character's not new. I love it too. They act like these things are like they did this in the comic in the 70s. Like it wasn't woke back then. Like, I don't know. This is how I truly before we wrap this up. This is my true belief about this election coming up. Unless there's some real fucking chicanery, is that the right word? Yeah, I think so. I think the Senate will remain Democrat, and I think they'll either gain a seat or two, hopefully. And Congress, my only issue with that is I think this is a math issue. I don't think this has anything to do with
gerrymandering.
This is gerrymandering, the census, the fact, you know, Trump fucked with the census, and you know, it's like we didn't take him serious. Like a lot of people didn't take him seriously. That census thing is a big fucking deal. The fact that it happened under his watch, like all that shit that came out and all the stuff they wanted to do, like undocumented people and that stuff, all that was to basically deny representation in an area, and so that you get one side because you're not counting people or you're miscounting people.
Right.
That means we don't need two congressmen here. We only need one. Or, you know, like I said, they break a district up. They take a blue district, split it into four, and then you don't have an actual representative of that area because they're just sharing sections with red areas.
Right. They don't have a commonality.
I think that's the only reason why they retain Congress. They'll get Congress Republicans. That's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, the Democrats could still pull it out, but it seems unlikely. So we'll have to kind of wait and see.
I mean, like I said, you know, enough people come out to vote, but like some areas are just going to be fucking red. But, you know, I hope that, you know, Democrats have to really hammer home the successes that they do.
Yeah. The legislative successes and the dangers the Republicans present.
they got to get, I wasn't crazy about Charlie Crist winning in Florida. I
Yeah.
would have preferred Nikki Fried.
Yep, me
I don't
too.
live in Florida though. I'm not gonna be voting there. I'm never gonna go to Florida again. I don't plan on it. But he was interviewed and he said something, and all the Republicans freaked out. He said something like he doesn't want the vote
Yeah, I saw that.
of the bigots or whatever. And he's not wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, he's not gonna get their vote.
Right.
Like, oh, they're not gonna vote. Yeah, he knows that. He knows he's not gonna get the racist nuts that like DeSantis. Like, he knows that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but if you were on the fence of who you were going to vote for, and you heard Charlie Crist say, "I don't want your vote if you have hate in your heart and you're a bigot," I have a feeling you probably weren't going to vote for him to begin with.
Right. Yeah. That wasn't the thing that did it. So.
Did you see that nut that came into that parent? What do you call that? The fucking school board meeting. He was like wearing like a red polo.
Yeah,
shirt,
I did see that.
Like he sounded like some wrestler, and he wanted to like he was gonna rape people. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah.
He's actually running for Senate.
God. Well, a lot of them do there come in and school boards. I guess that's the thing I'll finish on is if I had one hope for the Democratic Party or for progressives in general, it would be to devote time and money and candidates to those school board races and stuff. That's
this is an education battle. Like I said, you still live in the fire pits. Fire town of Texas. I'm just joking, but we went to my son's school today for parent teachers, we're in Colorado, and we saw like these signs that were just like, one of them was like, this is literally said like, this is not like, we have like no tolerance for hate here. Like
I mean that's good. I mean that's certainly better than not having those.
They had like a sign about said Black Lives Matter. I'm just pointing out like it doesn't make things like because the school that we used to go to, there was the story about a teacher getting fired because they had something on a yearbook that showed some tolerance.
Yeah.
And she had to leave the school. So it's not, it's like it's important that people learn tolerance, and there's people actively like it's crazy. Like, why would you want your kid not to like? Why would you want your kid to be a piece of shit? Why would you not want your kid to like? No, I mean, the people that are getting this person fired. Come on, you're fucking racist. Like, what other reason? Teach. This is not the place, and I am a stern believer in that. Not because of the messaging. I'm just like that on everything.
I think that the more the Democrats run candidates, the better. I guess I'll leave it at that. Doesn't matter what they're running for, and dog catcher or school board or whatever. I mean, like,
what was the thing Homer ran for? Garbage commissioner or whatever.
Yeah, garbage. Well, anything.
Steve Martin fired. He called him old man, whatever, and he's like, "I'm only 2 years older than you."
Honestly, that's probably I don't think that's a real position, but like, look, the garbage is going to go somewhere, and it often seems to go in poor, depressed, largely persons of color area. Maybe if there was some representation, they'd put a little more thought into where they put the garbage. So.
I still say that Simpsons episode where Homer runs for garbage commissioner is the blueprint of the Trump campaign in 2016. It really was. He's like, take notes. Watch the episode of The Simpsons when Homer runs. Take deep notes, Eric. Watch it.
Everyone grab a Sharpie. That's the last thing. This is my last thing. I heard today, I don't know if it's true or not, that one of the things Trump took and kept at Mar-a-Lago that he shouldn't have was that map that he drew on with a Sharpie of the hurricane.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm sure he just didn't want
that day I was a meteorologist.
Yeah.
I was the weather dominator.
Oh well. All right.
Real quick, what's the thing that all the conspiracy nuts say? There's this. They think there's a weather dominator or something.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, something like that. I don't.
It's like I forgot the name. I remember this guy told me about it at work,
Yeah.
but he really believed it was a real
Oh,
thing.
God.
And I was like, yeah, that's like that was like literally the plot in the first G.I. Joe cartoon. Cobra wanted a weather dominator.
Oh shit.
And the thing was that I knew, as much as I liked the cartoon, I knew it was not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I'm not gonna keep you on here, but that is a real conspiracy. They think there's
I believe it.
there's another word for it. They think there's like a weather dominator.
Well,
So anytime there's like a hurricane or like a tornado that causes like, no, it wasn't because of global warming or anything. It's because the
Cobra.
evil, no, probably
Right, yeah.
Soros or
Yeah.
something. Cobra Soros.
All right.
Uses weather dominator to, yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel,
I'm Joseph K.
and you still going on about
That.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.